Yo, 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 yo. Thank you for coming back to Kickin with me. I appreciate each and every one of you for showing back up. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share live. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And make sure you are hitting your notifications. Now, I see I got some little disturbance going on already, but we're going to rebuke the devil in the name of Jesus and move forward. Today, we got Nick Mountain Goat Productions on the stage with us. Everybody, welcome Nick. Hi, Alina. Let me see if I can't really see if anybody else is here yet. Hold on. So I hope your day has been going well. How has your weekend been? I've been doing a lot of resting. And thank you, Alina. Thank you. I appreciate it.
A lot of resting.
I appreciate it. I have been doing a lot of resting, guys.
That's good.
But anyway, today we're going to talk about DJ. I know, right? I know.
Yeah.
I just because like during my week, I work so much, and the type of work that I do is just it just burns my brain cells, guys. It really does. So on the weekend, I try to work. I mean, not work. I try to rest. I try to rest. But I really, like I said, thank you so much for coming back, family. I appreciate you. Thank you for all the lovely compliments, Alina. Thank you so much. Um, and hi to everybody in the bushes who are not in the comments. You're welcome too. We appreciate you as well. We thank you for just being here with us. You don't have to engage, I guess, if you don't want to, but thank you for just being here with us. So again, we're going to talk about DJ Scott LaRock. DJ Scott LaRock was the co-founder of Boogie Down Productions, which is a rap group. They came out, I think, 1987 was their first album that dropped. And in this video, I thought that we would start out with, in the beginning, some songs, so you can kind of familiarize yourself with this group. Sadly, Scott the Rock was unalived, and I wrote down the date, and guess what? Guess what? And the date is within there. Okay, so let's go ahead and just go ahead and start the video. Nick, you have anything to say? Did you do your homework?
Me, I did. I did a little
Nick?
bit, and yep. Can you hear me? I did some homework, and you know what?
Yes, I
Scott
can hear
LaRock.
you.
Yep, Scott LaRock. Very interesting guy, and reminds me of some people that I will bring up as we get into your video when you pause it later on.
All right. Okay. All right, guys, let's get into it. Share, sent. I got to talk myself through this, right?
Yep,
Sorry
of
about that.
course.
I got animals all around me getting on my nerves. Present. Let me present. I swear I must be their favorite person. Oh my God, why is it saying that StreamYard is not responding? Why is it
Mm,
saying that it's not responding? This is ridiculous.
it should be all right.
Every single time. Yeah, but it's like every time we go live, there's always something. Hey, Yvonne, welcome, welcome. Please smash the like button as you guys come in.
Is it going?
So I think so. It is on my end.
I can hear it.
Can you guys see the video?
I want y'all to listen to my dad. DJ better listen. Yes.
Yo, Set in the West in the house.
Hey, yo, Red, I'm getting sick and tired of this. You getting sick and tired of this, my brother? Yo, we come out with one chance explaining what time it is. What time is it, my brother? That's it. The bridge is over. The bridge is over.
Hey,
Bye-bye.
Jack.
The bridge is over. The bridge is over. Hey, hey, hey. The bridge is over. It's over. Goodbye. The bridge is over. The bridge is over. See
Back in the house. Just in case you
down
guys
with the
wanna pop
sound
in.
called BDP. If you want to join the crew, well, you must see me. You can't sound like Shan or the one Marley, because Shan and Marley and Mariah. I'm like the gay, picking up the mic, man, don't know what to say. It started out in Queensbridge, saying lines like that. Tell them again, me come to tell them again, come again, tell them again, me come to tell them. Manhattan keeps on making it, Brooklyn keeps on taking it, Bronx keeps creating it, and Queens keeps on faking it.
Guys, it looks like the video is froze. It says having trouble connecting. Please check your internet connection. My internet connection is fine. You're whack, StreamYard. You're whack. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. But the video was stuck to me.
It was a bit glitchy, just a little bit.
All your sucker MC ones come to play car. Here's an example of KRS-One. Boom. Here's an example of KRS-One. About to the people cannot. They must the who just keep playing of Becky down production and DJ.
This video just froze.
Only good for steady pocket. MC Shannon Marley is really only bluffing. Like Dougie Fresh said, I tell you now you ain't nothing. Compared to Red Alert on Kiss and Boogie down production. Say ease and I'm on them. Say ease and I'm on. One, you know what I'm counting. Square. Ooh, what's the matter with your MC Marley Marl? Don't you know that he's out of touch?
Oh, God.
What's the matter with your DJ MC Shan on the wheels of steel Marlin sucks? You better change what comes out speaker. You better off talking about your whack Puma sneaker. Cause Bronx created hip hop queens will only get dropped and still telling lies to me. Everybody's talking about the Juice Crew funny, but you're still telling lies to me.
That's no more battling. Then take it out. Boogie Down Productions. Played in 87.
Hey, Daddy, we out of here.
A lot of shit goes down at the Big T, but why was Mo and O clipped that day? I don't know.
Okay.
Why did they blame Yellow Beezy? I don't know. Truth is, Boosie had a lot to gain by watching Mo 3 move around. Maybe that's why they shot him over there at the Big T after the wake. A lot of shit goes down at the Big T, but for Boosie to get shot, I guess that's why Mo 3 got shot right over there. I guess that's why I couldn't stay in Dallas. I had to get out to watch Mo 3 be assassinated, executed, running for his life down this highway in the middle of the day. Like, it was this time of the day. Look how busy this is. And somehow he was forced to stop his car. Someone stopped their car as well, got out the car. He saw them, he must have recognized, because he turned and started running down the highway in the middle of the day. And they shot him in the back. Does this make any more sense than the Tupac shit? How the hell was there enough time on a busy highway like this at this time of the day? Who does a shooting in the middle of a highway She in the middle of it. And still, it's always too hard to solve a rap murder. Another graveyard.
Did you know that the first major murder in hip-hop was the death of DJ Scott LaRock, who was a part of the legendary Boogie Down Productions? The group also featured fellow pioneers like D-Nice and KRS-One. On August 27, 1987, D-Nice got into an altercation with some guys over his involvement with a particular woman, which would lead to Scott LaRock stepping in to defuse the situation. Later on that day, as LaRock and some members of the crew were leaving the High Bridge projects in the south, shots were fired at the Jeep CJ7 they were all riding in. Scott LaRock was struck by a bullet in the back of his head and was later pronounced brain dead at 25 years old. 2 men were arrested and charged with LaRock's murder, but they were acquitted at trial. If you guys were rocking with the video, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more videos.
My channel though, not his.
Make it better. Remember to let us into your skin.
Well, guys, this video right here, this is one of my favorite songs ever in hip hop. When this video came out, or this song, it wasn't a video, it was back in 1987, and your auntie was at the young, tender age of 13 years old. So if I was 13, that means Jag was 11, Odell may have been 10. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. We were so young, but when this song came out, this is what made me really fall in love with Boogie Down Productions. So when the death of Scott LaRock hit, it was detrimental to the whole hip hop community. Let's get back into it.
Cause then you'll begin to master rhyming. Criminal minded, you've been blinded. Looking for a style like mine, you can't find it. They are the audience, I am the lyricist. Sometimes the suckers on the side gotta hear this page of rage that I'm not in a cage. Free as a bird to fly about on stage. Ain't here for no frontin', just a little something. Because it's all out nothing. However, I'm really fascinating to the letter. My all-around performance gets better and better. My English grammar comes down like a hammer. You need style, I need to pull your bar. I don't beg favors, you're kissing other people's. I write and produce myself fast, keep my hand. Got no time for girls, attracting only ain't got little girls. So good, but the brain is not ready. I don't know. I'd rather talk to a woman, cause I'm honest, so steady. So here we go. I'm not a musical maniac, a b-boy fanatic. I simply made use of what was upstairs in the attic. I've listened to these MCs back when I was a kid, but I bust more shots than they ever did. I mean, this is not the best of KRS, it's just a section. But how many times must I point you in the right direction? You need protection when I'm on the mic, because my mouth is like a 9mm with height. You're a king, I'm a teacher, you're a b-boy, I'm a scholar. If this was a class, well, it would go right under drama. See, kings lose crowns, but teachers stay intelligent. Talking big words on the mic is still irrelevant, especially when you're not. College material, wake up every morning to your Lucky Charms cereal. DJ Scott LaRock has a college degree. Flashbacks and KRS writes poetry. I won't go deeper in the subject, cause that gets me bored. Just a shame to know some MCs on the mic are fraud, saying styles like this to create a diss. But if you listen, then you listen. See, I am a musician. Rapping on the mic like this to me is fine. Cause if I really want to battle, I will pull out a knife. You can see that Scott LaRock and I are mentally minded. In other words, we're both criminal minded. We're just having some fun. He's Scott LaRock, I'm KRS-One. Never off beat, cause it don't make sense. Grab the microphone, relax and not tense. You were debated, and now you activated. A musical genius that cannot be duplicated. See, I has the formula for rocking the house. If you cannot rock a party, do not open.
Oh, y'all, I'm having flashbacks.
The phony cosmetics for your pimples. Take another look because the gear is not wrinkled. The K, the R, the S, the O, the N, the E. Say I'm romper 87, not from 1983. Well versed to rehearse. In my rounds, I might curse. Originality first, but the suckers get worse. Allow me to include. I have a very stable mood, poetic education of a high altitude. I'm not an MC, so listen, call me poet or musician. A genius when it comes to making music with ambition. I'm cool, collected with the rhyme I directed. Don't wanna be elected as the king of a record, just respected by others as the man with the solution. An artist of the 80s and the left contribution on wax. Relax, it's 24 tracks. After years of parties, now I picked up the knack.
How you doing, Rob?
Something that flows from out my larynx. Take years of experience and bottles of backs. I cannot see some recollect the time I didn't have sex. Is it real? Or is it Memorex? Living in a city known as New York State. Sucker MCs gotta wait while I translate. I hang with real live dreads. With knowledge and
You doing the WAP Jag?
with ambition and straight up musicians. Although our lives have been so uprooted, I haven't included or been suited. So take
I used to be able to do that.
KRS
I did.
means knowledge reigns supreme over nearly everyone. You look at me and laugh, but this is your class.
Hey.
Discussion of the suckers I bring. So now you are awakened. The music I be making, never duplicated, and also highly cultivated. Don't get frustrated, cause nothing has been traded. Only activated, cause turn up very complicated. Not separated from my DJ. You see my voice is now faded. I'll see you folks around the way. Criminal minded.
I used to do that. You need some big game.
Criminal minded.
Now, you know you're too old to be down there. Forget it.
Criminal minded.
Can you guys hear now?
And still is. It's just sad we
Thank you.
lost into
Lagging.
the tragedy that went on in the Bronx, a little shootout. Bronx stopped violence.
And what happened was Scott was trying to be a peacemaker between
Exactly,
the situation
between D-Nice and this guy. And,
That's Big Daddy Kane right there,
things
guys.
just got out of hand.
Yeah. Now,
Okay.
Now,
All right, guys. Now,
a couple of
before
things
we get
before we
into
go,
this,
Vlad.
I know I hated to actually use this video. I got a lag. However, this is Sad G. Sad G was a very good friend of Scott LaRock. I want you guys to pay attention to this interview. It's really wild. Just based off this interview alone, I have 3 suspects. It's wild. So let's get into it.
That I got to get on camera. First, with the Scott situation, that was an assassination. Let me explain what happened. Scott had a deal for Boogie Down Productions because Scott was so far ahead of everybody business-wise. He knew things that me, Chris, Keith couldn't fathom. You know, he knew how deals were structured. He knew what publishing was. None of us knew what publishing was. He knew what publishing was. We didn't. So Scott had a deal with Warner Brothers for the whole Boogie Down Productions. And when I say that, that was going to include Ultra coming over into Boogie Down Productions. And the thing was happened, he had to deal, as I told you, my brother who's sensational, the great MC himself, Chris, you know, because he always wants the credit for everything.
And guys, when
he makes it sound like he got the...
When he's saying Chris right now, he's speaking of KRS-One. That's KRS-One's name. His name is Chris. And what I know about KRS-One, he has always been a very, very arrogant man. So just pay attention. It's some shadiness that went down. And it's wild, guys. Unbelievable.
Deal from Jive. No, the deal was already in place. Jive was offering the deal. They had more upfront money than Warner Brothers. The difference was Jive, which contained Zomba publishing music, they took all your publishing. Warner Brothers was letting you retain 100% of your publishing. So Scott was saying, don't get confused with the less money. We're going to make more money here because we have all our publishing. Now, this is where the assassination part comes in. The label to which they were signed to, B-Boy Records, Warner Brothers told them to go kiss their ass. The contract was garbage, throw it in the trash. Jive, on the other hand, was offering them a buyout. So Jive was influencing Chris, myself, and all of us to go ahead and do the Jive thing. It made more sense, more money. And at the time, Chris was in the man shelter, so I can't fault him. I'm in the man shelter, I'm thinking money.
All right. Pay attention to what he said. Again, Chris is KRS-One. He's talking about two different deals that were laid before them, right? One record company wanted to give them upfront money, but basically none of their publishing, right? And the other record company wanted to give them less upfront money, but they will own all of their publishing. And Scott LaRock did not want to take the deal that gave all the money up front with no publishing, because he knew, because he was smart, he knew that if they take the publishing rights in the long run, they will make more money. But okay, let's just get back into it. If you listen, this is one more thing. Chris is in the shelter. Chris is KRS-One. Chris is the other side of Boogie Down Productions, 50%, maybe a little less, I don't know, of Boogie Down Production. He wanted to get out of the shelter. So what does that tell you? That he wanted the upfront money, right? He wanted the upfront money because he wanted to get out of the shelter. I get that.
So Chris wanted to go with Jive. The label wanted everybody to go with Jive because they'd get some money out of it.
Jive Records.
Scott said no. So Scott had to be removed. So
did you guys hear that? The record label, which is B-Boy Records, yeah, wanted to take the upfront money. KRS-One wanted to take the upfront money. Scott LaRock did not, because he was looking at wealth in the long run. But from my understanding, B-Boy Records was a corrupt record label. They were into the mafia. I heard that they was in debt with the mafia. They owed the mafia millions of dollars, allegedly. KRS-One's in a shelter. He wants to come out. So there's a split. Scott LaRock standing his ground. He's not signing it. He wants the one with the publishing. He wants the deal with the publishing.
They set up this thing in the Bronx. Now, understand this.
Okay, and for those that don't know the story, let's just tell the whole story since we're getting into it. Yeah. From what I understand, D Nice was messing with some girl in the Bronx, and he got caught messing with her, and they kind of kidnapped him in a way, and he called Scott LaRock. And
that's he called Scott, and Scott got in the car, and this is where it gets interesting. Like I said, Scott got over there and he squashed everything.
Let me just say this. No, I don't think that Chris Lighty was involved in this, what he's talking about. But isn't it ironic that Chris Lighty was there when it happened? He was there when it happened. And did you guys hear where he broke down, or maybe it's coming up, but apparently Scott LaRock had the idea of branding the artist. It's the same thing that Chris Lighty went on to do. It was Scott LaRock's idea. It was his brain that made that up. And you'll go on to hear that Chris Lighty actually idolized Scott LaRock. Let me shut my mouth.
Everything was squashed. Now, there was this guy. His name was RoboCop. He was a former security guard at Latin Quarters, bouncer. He was driving the Jeep. Now, I guess the president of the label had given him orders to start some beef. Because for no reason, RoboCop got out of the Jeep, ran over and smacked the kid.
For no reason.
The kid runs in the building. They get in the car. 5 or 6 people in the Jeep. One guy gets hit in the temple. From the roof, an assassin who was already in place.
Think about that. It is a beef, a street beef between D-Nice and this crew, right? Scott LaRock came over there because the crew had beat up D-Nice. It's a different story that's in this video that'll expand on it a little more. So Scott LaRock went over there, squashed the beef, just squashed it. It's dead. Okay. And the bodyguard, for no reason, got out the Jeep and went over there and slapped the kid. The kid ran in the building. Snipers on top of the building, y'all. Snipers, like WTF. So yes, I believe he was assassinated. What do you guys think?
No way the kid can, this is why they have to let the kid go. No way you can get slapped unless you're the Flash. Run, get a rifle, run up to the roof, and then shoot the guy who didn't slap you.
Right. He was the only one hitting the Jeep.
Shooter was in place, Vlad. This is simple detective work.
Okay, and you feel that B-Boy Records is behind the whole thing?
Yeah. B-Boy Records was dirty. This guy was doing bootleg liquor. He had illegal porno things set up. This guy was crooked as they can get.
Yes.
Crooked. From the South, too. One of those South shysters.
Diabolical.
Was trying to be a peacemaker between
D-Nice and this guy, and things just got out of hand.
I don't know what happened, but did y'all? It's missing something. I don't know what happened. Something just skipped. But anyway, notice the look on KRS-One's face when he talks about it. I don't know if you saw it though, to be honest with you. Let me kind of back it up. It looks like it's a smile. Yeah. And somebody's gonna ask him why he was smiling too.
Exactly. Between D-Nice and this guy, and things just got out of hand.
Right, so
DJ Scott LaRock was honored with an unveiling of a street name in his
It'll come up again, guys.
West Jerome Avenue and Kingswood Road in the Bronx. Under the assistance of Councilmember Fernando Cabrera, the unveiling of the sign reads DJ Scott LaRock Boulevard is a major milestone for the Bronx community. Family members and Bronxites came out to celebrate his legacy and contributions to hip-hop as they rejoice in celebration of hip-hop week.
Today we're here to co-name a street after one of the pioneers of hip-hop. We're talking about DJ Scott LaRock, who was a creative genius. He was part of the Boogie Down production. He was one of those pioneers in the field that put the Bronx in the map, who put hip-hop in the map, not only here in the United States, but all across the world.
This ceremony wouldn't have been possible without the dedicated support of Bronx community members, as the sign took over 2 years to finally bring to life. In conjunction with Fernando Cabrera, the street naming ceremony was backed by the Universal Hip Hop Museum in the Bronx. Bronx native and executive director Rocky Buchanan shares why this recognition for Scott LaRock in the Hip Hop Museum is so important.
We worked with the Honorable Councilman Fernando Cabrera on passing legislation to help get a street codenamed after DJ Scott LaRock. The mission of the Universal Hip Hop Museum is to preserve and celebrate the legacy of our pioneers and the history of hip hop culture on a global level. But today it's all about the Bronx.
This street unveiling was full of a crowd that included direct members of Scott LaRock's family and childhood friends who were there during his journey to the success of the label Boogie Down Productions. One of the members of BPD.
Margie, That's a good question. Who would gain allegedly if Scott LaRock was sacrificed? Hey Wes, who would gain from that?
Yo, you hear me?
Hey, yep.
I kept getting
We hear
kicked
you.
out. I tried to leave a message because you had two people on there. Shout out to Rocky Volcano. I met him a few times. I was actually uh, talking to them when I was putting together, finalizing my documentary, and they were talking about a hip hop museum on the West Coast, and then they were still working on the one on the East. So yeah, Rocky's a true pioneer, true hip hopper. So shout out to him.
Yep, shout out to him. Got anything else to add right now? You want to keep watching?
I saw one guy mention B-Boy Records, and what did he say about the guy from B? Was it? Yeah, what did he say about? I came in when I didn't finish hearing what he said about B-Boy Records. So what did he say?
He said that they had mob ties, they were into porn, they were into drugs and everything. They were just crooked.
Okay.
Basically.
So that makes sense because my guy who's in my documentary, shout out to Black Dot, he and his boys, they were signed to B-Boy Records. As soon as they signed to B-Boy Records, and then the Boogie Down Productions was like, B-Boy Records, we do not trust. They whole career went to because it was like, oh man, they just got aligned with the wrong people in the industry. So yeah, dang, I didn't know that about B-Boy Records. Okay, all right.
And I heard somewhere where they owed the mob millions of dollars, so that is why that they were trying to pressure Scott LaRock to take the upfront deal with Jive basically. But Scott LaRock didn't want to take that deal. He wanted to do all of his where they owned all their publishing. And also ARS-1 was in the shelter, so he wanted the money as well. So somebody lined him up with snipers on the roof. So I'm saying it's various. Yeah.
Wow.
All right, crazy, man.
He and LaRock's friend said G explains why this is such an important day in history, as Scott's vision was so far ahead of what the hip hop culture is today.
This is one of the greatest days in hip hop, other than the day when Kool Herc had the street named after him. DJ Scott LaRock was just so far ahead of his time. All the things that people are doing today, the branding and all of that, this was Scott's vision back then in the late 80s.
Commemorating his memory as a hip-hop icon, the crowd continued to celebrate, as Scott's legacy will never be forgotten, with his name forever embedded for all to admire. This is Taylor Carter reporting for BronxNet.
Yo, we back. It's Shades Pop-A-Lot. Mob, gang. We on our way to NY with it. The BX. I feel like I gotta call it the Boogie Down Bronx for this one. We talking about a legend. Now, in this day and age that we living in, when we have rappers dying almost on the regular, and this is not just this year, I'm talking about the last 5 years. That really wasn't the case in the 1980s, and specifically in 1987. And I'm sure some younger people tuned in that really think that the first major deaths in hip-hop came in the mid-1990s with the death of Tupac Shakur.
I'm just going to stop it right there and just say this. I'm guilty of that. I just totally forgot. I was 13 years old. When Tupac and Biggie were unalived, I was a young adult. So I can totally get what he's saying. We did not remember. I did not personally. And a lot of other people did not remember that Scott LaRock was really the first major hip hop, death. And in addition to that, we didn't have social media back then. There was no cameras, no phones, or nothing like that. There was nothing that anybody can really get together and put together a documentary on and really focus on the facts that happened in his unaliving, right? And so that's how that slipped, in my opinion. But here's the verse.
Yeah, no, he was. I think
and Notorious B.I.G. But the person that I'm covering today, and I can't even.
Go ahead, Odell.
oh no. Go ahead. I was gonna say I think Karis one even
Go ahead,
mentioned that
Odell.
like he was the first.
Oh,
You hear me?
okay.
I'm running behind, I guess. Now I said I guess Karis one he
Yep,
said that Scott Rock was like
I
the
heard.
first one to
Right.
pass on. He was a sacrifice for hip hop. He
Yep.
said it like that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Sacrifice, assassination, and there's several people that benefit off of it. Even KRS-One, I said what I said. Allegedly, he benefited off of his demise because he got the upfront money. He went with the deal. They was able to take the deal. Scott LaRock wasn't there to sign because they assassinated him. Make sense?
Yep.
So somebody's going to ask KRS-One later on, why were you smiling the day that Scott LaRock was passing away?
Wow.
He had a weird response. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's a weird response.
Even really say arguably, but a lot of people, including myself, would say that this is the first violent death in hip hop. Now, keep it in mind, we talking about 1987. I really want to say niggas were still fighting back at that time. The gunplay wasn't too prevalent. So that made the death of the person that we covering today that much shocking back at that time. And that person that I'm speaking of is going to be a gentleman by the name of Scott Monroe Sterling, or the legendary Scott LaRock. Now, if we got any of y'all like me that was tuned into hip hop almost in the early stages, I want to say like the late 80s and definitely the 90s, this was a name that you definitely heard. And you heard it coming from one of the legendary groups of all time. That group being Boogie Down Productions and KRS-One pretty much being the face of the organization. Now, Scott LaRock, who was only 25 at the time of his death, was very adept and savvy at doing business. And a lot of people, and probably KRS-One himself, will go on to say that Scott LaRock was very important with them taking their craft from the streets to the record labels. Now, doing my research on Scott LaRock, I could see that he was not only sharks, but he was also a problem on the court, as they would say that he excelled in academics, mainly basketball, while playing at Al Xavier Lutheran High School. He would go on to graduate there in the 1980s, where he would earn a scholarship to a college in Vermont by the name of Castleton State College, where he would continue to excel academically as well as on the court. Now, coming back home to the Bronx, where he had moved as a young child with his mother from Queens, he would get a job at a place by the name of the Franklin Armory Men's Shelter on 166th Street in the Bronx. And it would be there where he would meet a resident staying at the shelter, and they would change hip hop forever. Now, this was 1986, and who would admit himself here through the had fallen time and called a shelter home for a while. Now, the shelter should almost be a hip hop monument, because it was there that they will also meet fellow BDP member Derek D. Nice Jones, who would just happen to be the cousin of a security guard working at the shelter. Together, they would go on to record the debut and critically acclaimed album Criminal Minded. Now, to Scott LaRock, all his dreams was coming true, because after coming home from school, he would be spinning records at a place called a Broadway Repertoire Theater, just trying to break into the music industry. So just by landing this job at the shelter and linking up with these two other group members, putting that album together, they would land on a record label by the name of B-Boy Records. Now, B-Boy Records looks like a record label that was formed by two guys by the name of Jack Allen and William Camara in 1986, and it looks like they had some kind of office that was located at 132nd and Cypress Avenue in the Bronx. Now, after releasing the groundbreaking single South Bronx in 1986 and The Bridge Is Over in 1987, The group will release that debut Criminal Minded in 1987. Now, I'm not sure of the parameters with the deal that they had with B-Boy Records, but at some point in time, two major record labels will come into play, one being Warner Brothers, the other being Jive. Now, I did listen to several interviews of people that I thought was close to the subject, one being Just Ice, another one being CG. How CG explained it was the deal with Jive was a lot more upfront money, but you had no ownership of your publishing, which is important in the music business. And the deal with Warner was less money, but you obtained all your business-minded as he was, didn't want to take the Jive deal and said, don't be confused with the upfront money, and wanted to go on and sign with Warner, going on further to explain that KRS-One would be in a different situation as he was staying in the shelter and the upfront money looked a lot better to him. And this is where everything gets kind of shaky, because CG would go on to explain that he believed that Scott LaRock was assassinated for not signing that deal. But in an interview I heard with Just Ice, who also was very close to the BDP situation, he would explain how they had just signed a deal and they were eating at a McDonald's on 68th Street and Broadway when they would get a call from fellow BDP member D Nice, who had apparently been having an issue with some guys at the Highbridge Gardens homes on University Avenue in the Bronx. Now, the details of that situation is sketchy. They're going to say that allegedly D Nice was dating one of the gentleman's girlfriends and got into some kind of altercation, and he would give a call to Scott LaRock, who Just Ice had explained had been at the McDonald's with himself, KRS-One, and another guy by the name of Daryl. Now, Daryl becomes very important because in a lot of interviews, they describe him as a guy named he was the person that insisted that he was going to go get D Nice, and Scott LaRock insisted on going with him. Now, after arriving, depending on who you believe, some people say that Scott LaRock was able to squash the situation between D Nice and the other gentleman. But according to CG, he would say that RoboCop would go on to attack one of the individuals who would flee into a building. And as the group of Scott LaRock, RoboCop, and several others would leave the scene, shots would be fired into their Jeep, essentially hitting Scott LaRock in the back of the head. And I've seen some places that said they even hit him in the neck. Now, not knowing that he was immediately shot, they said that he would realize this after some time, where they would drive him to a hospital where he would lay on the operating table on August 27th of 1987. Now, according to Double XL, two men would go on to get charged with that murder a year later, but they would end up being acquitted. I tried to dig into that case as much as I could and couldn't find anything. But if y'all know anything about the situation, y'all get in the box. When I first started the channel, I was just talking about all gangsters, but I really feel like as the show evolved, I felt like I have a duty to touch on certain topics and explain certain kind of situations.
You know what's crazy about the Scott LaRock story I'm about to do? This is the first tragedy in the game of hip hop. His death was the first murder in hip hop. Now, Scott LaRock, a straight genius. This was a guy way ahead of his time. I'm talking about this man was a small college educated with a degree, business type of man right here. He knew about marketing, promotion, publishing, and how to brand yourself, how to brand your company.
We just did the Chris Lighty video where Chris was known for what Scott LaRock was doing way back in the 80s. now, he's out of the way. And that's when I can step in the picture and kind of run off with it, So it's just never solved.
In the early 80s, doing business with powerful white execs and record companies that they couldn't pull a fast one over him because
right,
he knew what he was doing in business. Music mogul Chris Lighty, rest in peace to Chris Lighty, once said Scott would have been Puff before Puff, but without the dancing.
Yeah.
He was Chris Lighty's idol. Legendary DJ Red Alert said he was just a smooth, approachable brother that could relate to any type of person. That's why people gravitated to him.
Wow.
But see, his life though, man, his life went in so tragic, and some people that was close to him say
guys, I'm sorry to keep stopping, but I just got to ask this question. Why is it the artists, the rappers that can do more than just rap, more than just, play music? Why are they always eliminated? Why are they always sacrificed? Why are they always assassinated? Scott LaRock.
Because Auntie Leah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So that only one person can control
Hello?
the monopoly.
Hello?
Hello, Adele.
Oh yes,
Yeah, I guess I'm. No, I guess.
Go ahead.
Okay, no, I guess it's like a latency or some sort. But I don't have the answer to that. But I was the question you have, Leah. But I was gonna say, I know one of my OGs would say that those who run the industry side of the game, they already know who's coming in from the onset. Like, so if you're talented or if you're you're smart, or if you're not going, they know you're not the one that they can play, then they know they only can go so far with you, or they're not going to let you in. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at Jag, for example, where she has the talent, she had the talent, but they put her up to certain tests and see, oh, well, she ain't gonna go for this, so they only gonna let her. You can't get into the $20 million club. You know what I'm saying? Because they already know, okay, this person is going to be a problem when it comes to the art side or the business side. So yeah, they already know who you are from whether they do the gematria on you, whether they, whatever. They know who you are, your family lineage, all that. They know who you are when you stepping in, and they'll know, okay, yeah, this person ain't gonna play the game like we want them to play.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. And then if they know too much, if they know how to, like, look at Tory Lane. He was telling people how they don't have to sign with labels. They lined him up. Look at Tupac Shakur. Why did I mess him up? That's my heart. He was talking to the Black community, and he had major pull, right, with people. So they eliminated him. It's weird. And then learning that Scott LaRock also as well was very smart and had different ideas for the artists to be able to make money by branding themselves in other ways. It's just weird how, and sad how. Go ahead, Nick. They take
Auntie Leah. Have a look at Jag's comment. So he was doing something different, Scott LaRock. He was promoting unity, and he was anti-violence and anti, DR, UGS. So he was doing something different.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
He had the ability to do it all, and anyone that's got the ability to do it all is a big threat to anyone else that's already doing it all.
Right, just like Odell said, very similar to Jag. She was able to do it all, and she didn't pass the test of all the demonic things that go on in the industry. So it's just nuts out here. I would not ever want to be an artist in this world at all. All right, guys, let's get back into
Unless you're going to go with cruelty free.
Right. Cruelty free.
Just saying.
Cruelty free, all free. Yes. Yes.
He was actually assassinated to get him out of the way of the music business.
Come on up, Jay.
So let's get into his story though, right? Let's go. Here we go. Now, see, Scott LaRock was raised in the Bronx, New York, which is the birthplace of hip hop. Now, by the age of 4 years old, his parents separated and his mother raised him and his brother. And growing up, now Scott always wanted to help people. Even though he was poor himself, he would still give food to his friends in the neighborhood who was hungry. He was always trying to help them. That's just the kind of person he was. Now, around the age of 12 years old, he was introduced to hip hop after seeing legendary pioneer DJ Kool Herc DJing in Cedar Park. And he fell right in love with music. He loved how everybody was having a good time, partying to the music and everything. It's crazy because he actually saw Kool Herc getting electricity from the lamppost to play his sound system in the park. Wow. This is where hip hop started, y'all. That's crazy. And he was there at the time hip hop was in the early stages in the Bronx. But see, also around that time, right? The streets was crazy out there. Gangs, drug addicts, stick up kids, shootouts, and everything going on in New York.
Buffering, guys.
Star player at the high school playing basketball because he was like 6'3" in height, and that led to him dominating the courts. Plus, he was the captain of the team. But see, it was hip hop though. He fell in love with hip hop. He just loved music so much that he wanted to become a DJ after seeing DJ Kool Herc rock parties in the neighborhood. And once his grandfather got him some turntables and he became good, he started DJing, called himself Scott LaRock, in which he got that name from the rapper Coke LaRock, who was DJ Kool Herc's right-hand man. And look, Coke LaRock, they say he's responsible for the setup of a DJ and an MC rocking a party together. And you know what else? Coke LaRock is also considered the first ever rapper MC. Wow, that's history, y'all. Well, anyway, right now, after that, right, 1980 came around. Scott graduated from high school, and he ended up getting a full scholarship to play basketball at Castleton State College, which was in the state of Vermont. Now, see, this college was predominantly white, and it was a real quiet school, and he liked that. And he, for the college radio station, producing hip white students. And once he started DJing for a bar called Dugan's on the weekends, his popularity grew. And the white kids in town loved it and would party like crazy when he would spin. I mean, they say the place was so jam-packed. They say people would stand outside in lines, the freezing cold trying to get in. Wow, I know Vermont, state of Vermont gets cold and wouldn't get enough of them. Those white students wanted to learn everything about hip hop during that time. And that's when Scott started bringing his friends from back home to perform graffiti, show them how to break dance at all the events they had in town and everything. Now, one of his friends, right, that Scott used to bring with him to Vermont, to the shows to show kids how to break dance was Darren Henson, who y'all probably know from the movie Stomp the Yard. And he was in the Soul Food series too, the Soul Food series. But people don't know that. They don't know that he got his start with Scott LaRock when he was like 14 years old. But anyway, look, now realizing and understanding the power of hip hop, right? Scott ended up graduating with a business administration degree, and he was offered a contract to play basketball overseas too, because his senior year at that college, he led the team to a 26-2 record. But he just wasn't interested in playing basketball overseas in Europe. He wanted to go to the NBA. So that dream was crushed, and he just decided to just focus on music because Scott knew that hip hop was about to take over the world. And by this time, it was like 1984, and he wanted to be a part of it. Now, after graduating college, right, he came back home to the Bronx, and he got a job as a social worker and started working at a homeless shelter called the Franklin Armory Men's Shelter. But on the weekends, he was still DJing clubs. But see, look, at this homeless shelter, right, he ended up meeting KRS-One, who was living there at the time. And in the beginning, when they first met, they didn't get along because that was a rough homeless shelter full of men. It was full of drug addicts, ex-convicts, young teens fresh off the streets and everything. And to work there, you had to be a person that didn't take nothing from nobody, because see, Scott, they used to think, they thought he was a nerd because he would come to work with a briefcase, short sleeve shirt on with a tie, always wearing jeans. But he won't no joke though. He ain't play no games. And how he met KRS-One, right? See, him and KRS-One had bumped heads over a meal ticket and some subway tokens that the shelter used to give them every day. But see, Scott told him he needed to get a job first because Scott knew a lot of those guys in the shelter was selling those subway tokens to buy weed and beer and just live off the system. But later on though, you know, him and KRS-One became real close friends after meeting at Said G's house because he had a studio. And the Said G I'm talking about now, Said G from the Ultramagnetics with Kool Keith, because see, him and Scott LaRock grew up together.
So he's speaking of Said G. Now remember, Said G is the one that gave the first detailed interview with Vlad. He's the one that broke it down. He's the one that basically brought it to the forefront about it was actually an assassination. So that's what he's talking about. I just want to let you know.
And when they met at Said G's house, KRS-One couldn't believe that their social worker was there. And they didn't know he was hip like that. But they became close, and Scott, you know, Scott thought KRS-One was very talented because he could draw and do graffiti, and he can rap. He thought he was smart. And then once they became friends, you know, Scott used to tell him like, yo, he thought he was very intelligent. He thought he was very knowledgeable with his rhymes and everything. And he took a liking to him. And they became real good friends. Now, as they grew closer, Scott would invite them down to the clubs where he would DJ and let them rap. That's when they formed a group called the Boogie Down Crew. Because, you know, they was calling the Bronx the Boogie Down Bronx. So they just called themselves the Boogie Down Crew. And also around that time, he had met rapper D-Nice. Now, see, D-Nice, he was young. D-Nice, he had a cousin that worked at the homeless shelter, too. He was a security guard there. And he had brought him some food one day. And that's when his cousin introduced him to Scott. And Scott just took a liking to him, man. He took him his finger with Nice. Now, after that, right, Scott really wanted to pursue music with KRS-One and his crew from the shelter. And they ended up getting a deal. They got a deal with a label called Zakia Records, calling themselves Scott LaRock and the Celebrity 3, which consisted of KRS-One. They had a girl in the group. She went by the name MC Quality, and two other guys named Levi 167 and Kaz. And they did put out a single called Advance, and the song was like a conscious rap song, but it really didn't make any noise or get any airplay. So that label let them go out of their contract. And soon after that, the group, the Celebrity 3, they just broke up because all the other members had some issues. And that's when Scott and KRS-One, they stuck together and they just formed BDP, Boogie Down Productions. Now BDP, they ended up with a deal with their other shelter. Just Ice had just signed with them. But then they ended up losing that deal too after their single Success Is the World didn't make any noise or get radio play. But right after that, KRS-One and Scott was walking one day and they had a newspaper and they looked in the newspaper and it said a label was looking for talent, and they called a guy, and that's when they met a guy named Jack Allen, who signed them to Rock Candy Records and gave them their own label called B-Boy Records as a joint venture, only if they would put out a song about saying no to drugs. That's crazy too, because they wanted them to put out a anti-crack song, because see, what Scott and KRS-One, what they didn't know was that label was ran by a bunch of old gangsters and criminals who was tied with Joe Robinson, who y'all all know.
Guys, why is the industry always, I mean, the labels always run by thugs and old gangsters and things of that nature? Just nefarious, just crazy, isn't it?
I could tell you
on
because
Sugar Hill Records. And Joe Robinson, he was
All right,
tied
let me
to
let you tell me,
Notorious
please
Mafia.
enlighten me, Odell. I would like to know, because the Diddy's, the Suges, all of them, even way back when it
well,
started, all thugs.
I'm just I'm just referencing what one of the OGs told me, Lonzo. So when he he was doing this thing independently. If you guys don't know, one of the first, what was it? The first independent West Coast artist was DJ. No, what was his name? Disco Daddy. And the people that are connected though, that are like really connected to the industry, a lot of times they're connected into the underworld. I'll just say it like that. They're connected to the underworld. They have underworld activities. So like Disco Daddy, he was just a rapper. He was good, but he wasn't Lonzo, because Lonzo knew how to press the records. Lonzo knew, about distribution, stuff like that. So if you're just an artist, you're going to be limited, and they know how to play you. They say, oh, okay, yeah, he's just an artist. He don't know the business like that. But people in the underworld, meaning like mobsters, drug runners, things like that, they are the real people who ran the industry. And it was all still like Italian mafia, black mafia, Jewish mafia. Uh, they were all really still the ones behind the scenes doing a lot of the record stuff. And Lonzo told me he was basically saying, like, when he had mafia people looking for him, he was like, oh man, he's like, he didn't know what he got himself into. But yeah, the underworld of the music industry, of the people in the music industry, a lot of times come from the underworld. That's just not. That's how prohibition, drugs were ran, alcohol was ran. You know what I'm saying? So it was still the same tradition.
Wow. And also, you think they're trying to wash their money, like money laundering?
That part. Yeah,
they get
that too.
like in the streets, like D-Rug, crime. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Wow. That is just nefarious. All right, guys. Thanks, Odell.
Label CEO Morris Levy, who dealt with the mafia and the Genovese family, Vince and the Chin Gigante, them real mafia cats. And y'all don't know him, check out that Godfather Harlem series with Forrest Whitaker. You'll know all about him. But that B-Boy Records label that they had just signed to was ran by some criminals. But anyway, right now with their own record label, B-Boy Records, KRS-One put out the anti-crack song called Crack Attack, but it really didn't make an impact on the charts. It didn't get no airplay, but the thing was, they still could put out music when they wanted to. After that, they started working on the album, the demo Criminal Minded. And while working on the album, they ended up meeting DJ Mr. Magic at the studio. Now, see, at that time, look, Mr. Magic, probably one of the most popular DJs besides Red Alert. I want to say he's probably one of the first DJs to play hip hop. But, you know, he was running with Marley Marl and the Juice Crew at the time. That was his crew, which is MC Shan, y'all know Biz Markie, Roxanne, Shantae, Craig G, and all of them. And Scott LaRock and KRS-One, they all excited. They met him, they praising him. They like, yo, would you listen to the music? They asking Mr. Magic to listen to their music because they really wanted to be part of the Juice Crew, believe it or not. They really wanted to be down with Mr. Magic because he had the whole hip hop thing locked down. All the rappers wanted to be part of the Juice Crew. But see, when Mr. Magic heard their songs they played for him, he told them straight up in their face that they was whack. Wow. Mr. Magic was wild. They say he ain't hold his tongue for nothing. But Mr. Magic told them their songs was whack, which made them mad. I think Marley Marl said he was there. He said that it was so intense that he left. He said he even left his music and sounds in the studio. He had to get out there fast. But after Mr. Magic dissed him, right, that's when KRS-One said MC Shan was whack. And from there, the beef was on. And that's when they went to the studio, made the song in response to MC Shan's The Bridge song. KRS-One and Scott LaRock made South. It really wasn't no real beef because Scott brought the South Bronx to Mr. Magic and Marley Marl to play it. And he wanted to be on some, see, Scott LaRock was like, look, we'll diss y'all, and then y'all can diss us back like Roxanne and Shantae did the Kango and the UTFO and Sparky D them. Same way they did it and everything, so everybody can make money. Scott was already thinking like that. It's the same thing the rappers be doing these days, dissing each other to boost record sales and promotion, but still be friends. Scott was already thinking like that back in the 80s. He was way ahead of his time. But, you know, Mr. Magic, Marley Marl, they was like, nah, we don't need you. We the Juice Crew. We already popping. So they gave the record South Bronx to DJ Red Alert. And the people went crazy for the song, especially in the clubs. DJ Red Alert said he had to play the song back to back over and because the crowd kept a hook. Now, after that, that's when MC Shan came back with the song called Kill That Noise, which people was feeling too. That was a hit too. And once Scott LaRock and KRS-One heard that, they went back in the studio and recorded one of the greatest diss songs of all time called The Bridge Is Over. Wow. And the battle was over. It was over. The Juice Crew never responded. And on March 3rd, 1987, they released the album Criminal Minded, making it one of the first albums in the gangster rap genre. Never realized that. Because I always thought Ice-T and Schoolie D were the first gangster rappers. But anyway, now, the Criminal Minded album, songs like Poetry, 9mm Goes Bang, Superhold, Criminal Minded, The P Is Free. Come on, man. The album cover, they had guns on the album cover, a hip hop classic. They say that was the first time an album cover had guns on it. Even though Scott LaRock and KRS-One was posing with guns and weapons on the album cover, looking like drug dealers, that really wasn't what they were about though. They was just saying that they was on some modern day Black Panther stuff, revolutionaries. That Criminal Minded album, Rolling Stone even put it on the list of the 500 greatest albums of all time. The Bridge Is Over, that song became one of the most sampled hip hop songs in hip hop history. after that, right, everything was going good. The album was successful, and they started working on a second album titled "By All Means Necessary." KRS-One, he already written the song "Self Destruction, Stop the Violence," and "My Philosophy" and everything. Is working on the second album, but on August 27th, 1987, Scott LaRock was shot and killed. Now, here we go. The story goes. Now, see, D-Nice, right, like a year before, keep that in mind, a year before they even blew up, Criminal Minded album wasn't even out or anything. They were still trying to get a deal. So, D-Nice had a girl, which was a good friend of his, right? And it wasn't his girlfriend or nothing like that.
Y'all, what? Girls are still lining up these rappers. He was lined up. Scott LaRock was lined up. And it's always a female that starts it.
He wasn't trying to get with her or nothing like that. She was just a good friend of his. So he called her. So when he called her, right, the girl's boyfriend ended up getting on the phone thinking D-Nice was trying to get with her. And he tells D-Nice when he sees him, he's going to kill him.
Wow.
So they ended up going back and forth on the phone, then they hung up, and that was that. Now, here we go. A year later, right, they done made it big in everybody else's eyes. The songs, the South Bronx and the Bridge is Over, blasting all over the radio and everything. Now, that same girl is telling her boyfriend, like, remember that guy D-Nice that you got into it with?
Here's
on the
the
phone?
lineup. Here's the lineup, y'all.
They big time stars now.
Crazy.
Which made him even angrier once he heard that. So look, one day, D-Nice and one of his boys were walking and talking in the hood, and all of a sudden, his boy goes down the block to talk to a bunch of other guys that was on a corner, right? Next thing you know, his boy disappears.
Y'all hear that? Wait.
His boy just disappears. You don't see his boy no more.
So the guy, his boy went down the street to talk to some other people, right? And then the boy just disappears. Y'all see the lineup?
Yep.
The lineup. Where does Bryn go? Just disappears. It's all a setup.
Set him up, yeah.
And the guys on the corner start walking towards D-Nice, and they surround him, pulling their guns out. And dude that he had got into it on the phone, it was him. So he confronts D-Nice, pistol whips him, and then they all run. So D-Nice, right, and at that time, he's only like 16 years old, something like that. So he calls Scott LaRock and the whole BDP crew, and he's crying and everything. He tells them what happened, because at that time, it was all at McDonald's, Scott LaRock and everybody. They was at McDonald's eating with rapper Just Ice when they had got that call from D-Nice, because Just Ice had a deal, had that sleeping bag deal, and BDP was supposed to produce his next album. So when D-Nice had called, and Scott LaRock said, we're going to get D-Nice, everything, going to check him out, see what happened. But KRS-One and Just Ice, they said they was going to stay. And the rest of the crew left to go get D-Nice. Now,
so why did KRS-One say that he wanted to stay? Why didn't he accompany Scott LaRock to go, rescue or support or get D-Nice? And he's a part of their group. Why did KRS-One want to stay behind? Let's remember. Who wants to come up? Okay. Let's remember the money, right? The money. And the only one that was stopping the upfront large amount lump sum of money was who? Scott LaRock. Because I'm not going to let my friend go to rescue another friend alone. I'm not going to stay behind. allegedly, in my opinion, that's because he knew about the lineup. He knew about it and didn't want to risk getting out. Nefarious.
Who's that down there? Is that Jay?
When
Yeah,
Scott
that's me.
LaRock picked him up,
Hey, Jay.
he told him that
yes,
he was going to try to find the guys and squash the beef because, Scott LaRock was a social worker. He was a peacemaker. He was all about peace and helping people. He didn't want to do none of that violent stuff. So when they went to look for these guys, they didn't even have no guns. He wanted to work it out, squash it, because he knew beef wasn't good. Now I'm riding around in a Jeep looking for these guys that roughed D Nice up. It was Scott LaRock, D Nice, Daryl, also known as the RoboCop, who was their bodyguard. They called him RoboCop. Their manager Mo and DJ McBoo. They was all in the Jeep Wrangler looking for these guys in the projects. And they ended up finding the guy. And Scott LaRock, they squashed the beef. They said that Scott and the guy squashed the beef.
All right, this is the second documentary that says Scott LaRock squashed the beef. It was over.
Yep.
So RoboCop, what were you doing?
Their bodyguard, RoboCop, who was like 6'5", big muscles and everything, he gets out the car, ends up getting into it with another guy, and he ends up slamming the guy on the ground. Next thing you know, bullets were coming from everywhere. People were shooting from the bushes, from on top of the roof, everything. So they ordered with RoboCop driving, and Scott LaRock jumped in the passenger seat, and D Nice and the rest of the guys were in the back seat. But the other guys, they continued shooting at the car while they hurried off and drove off until they got somewhere safe, and everybody started checking each other to see if everybody was all right or if anybody was hurt. And that's when D Nice said he saw blood squirting out the back of Scott LaRock's head. And that's when they discovered that Scott was shot twice, in the head and in the neck. Shaking my head, man. That's sad, man. They say Scott didn't even know he was shot at first until he complained of being dizzy. And he was telling them, like, why y'all got the music so loud? And then all of a sudden, he grabbed his neck. And then his head just hit the dashboard. And that's when they rushed him to the hospital. And they say he was conscious when they brought him into the emergency room. But he kept saying he was cold and feeling tired. And he went into a coma. And an hour later, man, the doctors pronounced him brain dead. And his poor mother had to make the decision to take him off life support.
Oh, no.
Shaking my head, man. That's sad. He ended up dying on the operating room.
Wow.
Terrible, man. And she also gave permission for Scott's organs to be donated to the hospital. Now,
that's good.
Police did arrest two men.
Yeah.
Police did arrest two men named Corey Bain and Kendall Newland and charged them for Scott LaRock's murder. But they were acquitted at the trial because they had no willing witnesses to testify. Now, rapper Just Ice said in an interview that he had ran into one of those guys about 7 months or a year later at the club, at the Latin Quarter Club, and the guy must have thought nobody recognized him or something. But they did. And he said, once they said that's the guy that killed Scott LaRock, that's all it took. And he didn't say any more about that. He didn't say no more about what happened. Now check this though. Now here's the twist. Here we go. This is the twist though. Now said G from the Ultramagnetics, and he also helped produce that Criminal Minded album. He was around them during that time, and he grew up with Scott LaRock. Said G was around. This is what he said. He was around. He didn't get credit for none of the production he did on the album and everything. So he knew how that label was, the B-Boy Records. Now, Said G said in an interview that the label B-Boy Records that they were signed to, KRS-One and Scott LaRock was signed to, that label was run by criminals and they assassinated Scott LaRock. That was the label's plan. Wow. Wow.
Yep.
And doing research on that label, those guys that ran that label, they was in some trouble. They used that label to front like a pornography type of setup scheme thing, bootleg and selling records out the back door, all types of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, Said G said Scott's death was an assassination, and here's the reason why.
I agree.
Now, at that time, Scott LaRock and BDP had 2 record deals on the table. One with Warner Brother Records, and the other was with Jive Records. And both of these labels were going to buy them out of their contract with B-Boy Records, right? Warner Brothers, they was offering them less money up front, but then was giving them 100% ownership of their publishing. And for all you artists out there now, publishing is the most important because that's the mailbox money. That's the mailbox money coming to you for the rest of your life.
Hello,
you can get that to your kids. And Scott knew that. He was smart, business minded, educated. He knew that. Now the other record label, Jive Records, was offering more money up front, but they wanted all of their publishing. And the owners of B-Boy Records was cool with that because they was criminals anyway running the label, and they wanted the money up front. Plus, KRS-One also wanted the money up front.
Because he was homeless.
You know why? Because look, at the time, he was still homeless. He was living in KRS-One was living in a freezer that was under the office of B-Boy Records. It was like a garage with a walk-in freezer, and he was sleeping on crates with a mattress made out of clothes and newspapers. Plus, he had to put a brick to stop the door from shutting so he wouldn't suffocate and die if the freezer door closed, because 2 people had already died down there before. Wow, he was doing
crazy
bad
work, guys.
Look,
crazy
KRS-One
work.
said when the South Bronx and the Bridges Over songs were out, he was still homeless, sleeping on a train, but nobody knew his face.
Okay, it's real quick. So what do you all think? I have at least, well, I have 2 suspects, maybe 3. We're going to talk about it. The video's almost over, but the lineup, yeah, diabolical.
Because back then, the pictures wasn't out. That's why he wanted the money up front, too. But see, Scott LaRock was so smart and ahead of his time, he was trying to tell him and convince him that they should just take the Warner Brothers deal, even though it was less money, but they would make more money later on in the long run. But after Scott's death, they ended up signing with Jive Records anyway. But yeah, look, Said G also said that Scott squashed the beef with that guy in D Nice, and that record label, B-Boy Records, paid their bodyguard RoboCop to make sure an incident happened. Wow. All those bullets flying at them, 5 people in the Jeep, and 2 bullets
get the old dirty
hit the
bastard
top of the car,
in these
only
series.
hitting Scott LaRock in the head and in the neck.
How is that even possible?
Said G said they had a sniper
How is it
on the
even
roof.
possible? Wait a minute. For it'd be a Jeep full of men, and he get hit twice. He the only one hit, and KRS-One stay behind.
Yes.
How is this even possible? The lineup, and it must have been a
What's
professional
good,
hit,
Queen?
Dad.
I mean,
This was no rookie shooter.
the truth is, I'm from the East Coast and I'm East Coast hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you right now, everybody knew. Everybody knew and everybody got paid.
Mm.
That's just what it was. I don't think everybody knew going in, but on the other side of it,
Yeah.
it was clear.
Right.
And unfortunately, in a lot of these situations, for a lot of people, it's better to just take the money.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
And
And we see who was desperate for money, right? Go ahead.
oh, well, I
Sorry.
mean, this is the thing when it comes to Kenny Parker.
Hmm.
There's also been conversation that he made a deal to be a plant.
I believe that.
Um, I mean, the truth is, Kenny Parker was always very self motivated,
Mm-hmm.
brilliant
Yes. It
artist,
can see. Mm-hmm.
brilliant. Um, but he suffered from that I am greatness
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
disease. And
Mm-hmm.
it was so funny because there was a conversation that he had with Fat Joe. And I thought it was really telling because Fat Joe had said to KRS-One, you know, when people see you in the street, they embrace you, but they don't do the same with me. They don't treat me the same way. He said, see, I'm KRS-One. I play the
Mm-hmm.
role of the teacher.
Right.
People want to be near a teacher. He said, you play the role of a gangster.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to stand next to a gangster because gangsters get killed. And I thought it was just very interesting when he said the word, the role.
The role, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you say the role? The role would imply you were acting by a script, and considering how extremely intelligent he was and how well placed he placed his words, I always thought it was very interesting that he said that I play the role because that's what hip hop plants do. And the truth is, if anyone from the label had pulled him to the side and one of the government people came in and said, look, this hip hop thing is going to be big and we can make you big, they're trying to hold you back. Look, all you have to do is do this, do that. We'll take care of everything. You're going to be the greatest of everything. And you know what? A lot of guys fall for that.
Right.
Now it's funny because they don't even have to be anywhere near as talented as Kenny Parker. They just need to be able to get close enough to line somebody up.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Like I said, when it comes to the art of sacrifice, it's a game that they have been tweaking, refining for many, many
Mm-hmm.
years.
And still doing it today.
Yeah, it's a machine.
And this is what
It's a
Jag's
machine that
watching it.
prints money. Yeah.
Jag's what? Yeah, Jag, you're watching out for this for yourself all the time, all the time.
Well, I'm not just watching out for myself. I'm watching out for the people who I know are still trapped inside the game. I mean, the
Yep.
truth is, if I were really honest about everything that I know, completely honest, I would have to tell you that there's at least 8 artists that I've stopped from being sacrificed
Wow.
in my
Wow.
career, in my time,
Yep.
30
Wow.
years. I saw when they were lining people up. I saw when it was going. And I always made sure I
Mm.
was involved just enough to be able to bend the circumstances,
Mm-hmm.
to alert this person, to let this person know, tell somebody at another label, hey, I know this artist he really needs to get out of his contract.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
His recoupables ain't that
Wow.
bad. You'll make it back. Like I was always
Mm-hmm.
that person. So for me, when Malik B died, a member of my
Mm.
crew, the Roots crew,
Yes.
the crew that I signed those demonic contracts with.
Mhm.
When Malik died, it was too much. It was just too much for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
When Proof died, it was bad. Um, because he was going to take over 8 Mile. Marshall promised him,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
and then he ended up dying in a shootout where he was blamed for his death, just like my son was for his.
Jeez.
Um,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, Marshall got
Jack,
to
may I
hold on to
ask you
everything.
something? May I ask
Yeah,
you something?
yeah.
Wow. Who is Proof?
Proof was the
I don't
lead
know who
rapper
that
of
is.
D12. D12 was the legendary rap crew from Detroit, the only other legendary rap crew outside of Slum Village with Jay Dilla, 510,
Gotcha.
T3. Um,
Hmm.
I worked out at 8 Mile. Proof and I were good friends. You know, I think one of the dopest ever hip hop documentaries that'll probably never happen is if you got all the
Hmm.
ghostwriters together and got the true account of everything that happened.
Are you giving Odell an assignment, Jack?
No,
Mhm.
I'm just saying it would probably be impossible because I can think of three right now that I know Odell knows that probably would never say a word. And if you knew, it would
Yeah.
blow your mind.
Yep.
Wow. We want to know it all.
I
I
mean,
mean, us as a family.
Proof invented
We just,
Slim Shady. Proof was Eminem's ghostwriter.
gotcha.
He created the greatest white boy rapper of all time. And
And got no
he,
credit,
in
probably.
exchange, I mean, not really. He talks about him, but
Hmm.
he doesn't tell the truth. I'll never forget when I first started doing my exposures and I called Obi and I
Hmm.
said to Obi, he said, what? I said, who wrote Forgot About Dre? And he was like, Jed, come on, don't make me answer that. I can't answer that.
Hmm.
I said, come on, Obi. Tell me that you remember who wrote Forgot About Dre.
Hmm.
I said, we
Hmm.
know everybody thinks it's Marshall. He said, I can't do that, Chad. I can't. And I
Wow.
went on my Instagram and I said, nowadays everybody want to talk like they got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move their lips. Just a bunch of gibberish, and motherfuckers act like they forgot about Proof.
Bars. You
And I
got to have
remember
skills
when
to be able to
Proof,
do that, baby. Go
I
ahead.
remember when Proof wrote it.
Mm.
It was really something else. I was ghostwriting
Mhm.
out of 8 Mile for a little while there. Um, yeah, after Proof died, Detroit wasn't a move for me like that anymore. I couldn't stand it. And I always thought that Marshall would do more for Proof's legacy, but when I realized that all he ever did was thank him for, helping him put his career together and putting D12 together and helping him build a label, he really wasn't being honest because it was Proof that did all of the work
Wow.
and
And
gave
you're
him a
saying that
career.
it's crazy.
That was
You're saying
Proof's
that
way
Proof
in the door.
also died by gun violence, right?
Yeah, he got set up. He got set up. They said it was a shootout, and at the end of it, they no billed uh his unalivement and said that he died because it was his fault, which was not true. So when my son
Hmm.
died, and they did the same thing to him, yeah, I was raw. I
Mm.
was raw about it.
Yeah.
It was his fault that he's black. I don't get
No,
that.
it was his fault that he actually thought that that white boy was going to keep his word. That's what he was guilty of.
Yep.
Wow.
I'll never forget the last time we did Madison Square Garden, D12, Eminem.
Mm-hmm.
Marshall was supposed to be turning the paperwork over to the company in a couple of months, waiting for the quarter earnings to end, and then he was going to turn over 8 Mile completely to Proof. Me and Proof had a bottle. The picture is online. You'll see us with a bottle of champagne. There was some money in my wife beater, and me and Proof just sitting there looking like young money. We were celebrating.
See.
We were really happy that night. I was so happy for him. And he was like, Jag, I'm telling you, you ain't gonna have to worry about nothing. You'll just sign the 8 Mile. I got you. You ain't gonna have to deal with none of these suckers no more. It's so funny. Joe Levert said the same thing to me, and then he died.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. I did find that picture. Would you like for me to
You
share
can.
it? Jack?
You can.
All right. Hold on a
What's
second.
that song from Wizard of
Okay.
Oz?
I'm gonna pull up the picture she's
That Mike
referring to.
Mike talks about. You can't win.
Yeah.
Can't get out. Something like that.
Yeah. That's me and Proof.
Is that it, Jack?
Yeah, that's it. That was us after Madison Square Garden that night with the after party. He was about to be the king of Detroit.
Memories, huh?
He was. Do you know how many people I've taken pictures with like this that are dead and I'm still here?
Oh, geez, Jack. That's
No.
that's scary.
I don't.
Too many.
It's scary, but it's
I mean, it's
educational.
life.
It's education.
Life
Right.
out here.
We need to know these things.
It's
I'm so
sad.
hungry for the truth. I don't know what to do.
Proof died.
Yeah.
Proof died, and then that New Year's Eve, Obi got shot in the head. And I was on the phone with him when they was putting. Yeah.
Opie Trice.
Yeah, he's been real compliant ever since. And a staunch alcoholic. And guess where he's signed to now? Death Row.
Wow.
And then they got him to do a post last year after he got signed. After he was caught talking to me and conversing with me, after Snoop and them threw him off of that tour. We were supposed to meet up in Austin at South by Southwest, and then all of a sudden he had a probation violation. It's I think for me at this stage in the game, part of where my outrage comes from is because I look at people and say, how many people do we have to say goodbye to before we say enough?
Yeah.
Man.
It's just become too easy to say goodbye. Yeah.
Do you think more people's eyes are open now because of the Diddy case?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I do.
Absolutely. And I think part of the reason why their eyes are so open is because for a while now, people have been hearing me standing out there saying, this is happening, this is happening, it's happening right there, it's happening right there, it's happening under your nose, it happened to her, it happened to him. And, they watched. And I think for a while, a lot of people, they didn't care about the history. They just wanted to see who was going to shut me down. They wanted to see who was going to shut me up.
This is something I really don't understand. I might get it sooner or later, and I hope I don't get it. But people are concentrating on you more than they need to. they're using you as the distraction from what's really
I
going
know.
on. Is that
I
is that
know.
is that it?
Oh no,
Yep.
that they've turned the greatest advocate into the greatest distraction, or at least
Yeah.
tried to.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I work so hard at dispelling the distractions.
Mm-hmm.
But now in this technology age, when all somebody has to do is spend a couple of months around you,
Mm-hmm.
you know, online, not even know you in person, never,
Yep.
nothing. Apparently, that's enough to say, I know this person well enough to say she's terrible, she's this, she's that. Like I heard some idiot online arguing about the difference between defamation and commentary and real receipts and no receipts. But are your receipts real if they're all altered in AI? Then
No.
I don't understand.
Right. No,
I don't understand,
absolutely
which is
not real.
why I'm really excited about the Demore Hadley story. I'm really
Mm-hmm.
excited about that because I get to show people exactly what I've been talking about, and it has nothing to do with me for
Mm-hmm.
once.
Yeah, yeah, it's fantastic.
Yes. Yes.
So that was a preview that you showed us. There's more. There's
Yes, yeah.
a lot
Oh, I
more.
can't
There's
wait.
there's a lot more. Actually, I'm gonna be going live after you guys finish,
Mm-hmm.
so I can get the
Okay.
community up to speed. And I really hope that all of you
Yay.
guys um will really help us promote this story, share
Mm.
this story
We
out.
will.
I know there's going to be a ton of content creators that are not going to touch this story with a 10-foot pole.
Okay. Yep.
We
Definitely.
got you,
Then we'll
Jay.
do it. Yep. We do
And
it. We'll do it.
and that's great because that means we have control of the algorithm around this story. And I want us to really push this story like a madman because if we want hip hop to stop becoming and to
Mm-hmm.
remain a graveyard, we have to remove the entities that are keeping it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely.
And Rock
Jack,
Nation,
mhm.
yeah.
I was thinking about doing a live watch party when it drops, if you don't mind.
Oh,
I think everybody should
please.
do it on their channel because we all have other viewers that are not a part of the Jag family do come to our channel. So I think that we all
That's
should
right.
broadcast it
Yes.
live.
Yes. Yes.
I don't have
And
a
with you.
problem with that. Please speak with the producer of the channel, but pushing it out as much as possible would be great. And because of the amount of content that we created with Demore, this is not going to be a one-shot video. This is going to be a series. So we're going to be
Yes.
having multiple episodes. And
And
I'm going to be,
if
I'm
she
sorry.
doesn't, no, my bad. I'm sorry.
No, go
If
ahead,
she,
please.
Demore said, and her attorney said, if she doesn't get gagged, then she's open to expand more with a podcast. I told her about the podcast, so we will be doing more of the story in podcast format.
Okay.
So she's open to that. So yeah, you guys
Okay.
could, I mean, do whatever y'all want with it. It's all good.
For the
Okay.
family,
All
for
right.
the family and
Yes.
affiliated channels, anybody else who tries to
Right.
use any of this content for anything, you're struck. It's just that simple. The story is too important
Right.
to be misused or
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even gonna lie. We did the interview. We sat
Uh-huh.
down. It was intense. But they're
Wow. I
threatening to
can't
put a
wait.
gag order
It's
on
sad.
her. Yeah, they're threatening to put a gag
What?
order on her. Yeah. So we got the interview done before the ruling.
Great.
So even if she can't speak, we can speak for her
That's
with
right.
Yes.
all of
With
the
more face out.
evidence. But when you guys see, like if you think that teaser was something, and there's going to be a longer trailer coming, and then that first episode, it's gonna drop, and it's yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. But when I looked at how the AI evidence was used to destroy her life and her husband's life. And I think about some of the stuff that has been used against me in my cases,
Mm-hmm.
because I can tell you for a fact that when they put a white warrant on me and used my second ex-husband to do so, that the picture that they showed the doctor saying that that was me, it was AI'd by one of these YouTubers. I'm not going to say the name,
Mm-hmm.
but I know who it came from.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They
Wow.
like, can you imagine?
I can't.
No.
Ain't got no life.
I can't.
No, it's not
The
even
thing.
about not having a life. The simple fact that you could sit there and you can alter images and then say, hey, this is this person for real. Put them away,
Yeah.
lock them
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no,
Right.
gee. That's not even not having a life. That's you trying to take somebody's life by duplicitous means.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's cold.
That's evil,
Yep.
pure evil. And for this to happen to this woman, strictly because she chose a different path and just wanted a normal, regular life and didn't want to be controlled, and met a great guy, and he wanted the same thing. This is what happens to you?
The camera is just it's criminal. It's so criminal.
Yeah.
So they're putting a.
Camera and technology, all depending on whose
So
hands it's in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right. So they're putting a gag order on her because of you on her channel. Is that what
No,
the gag order is
they were
about,
putting a
or is
gag
it?
order on her
Okay.
because of the lawsuit, period, and to stop her from doing any more press, because everyone that tried to talk about it, there was already fake copyright strikes put on. NBC got a fake copyright strike.
Wow.
Wow.
Like this is like, but see, coming after me, that's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
Coming after our community, that's a little bit different. Because if you come after me and I'm doing nothing but sharing fair use commentary with facts and all of these things are verifiable and everything is true. If you come after me, that's
It
going to look a
looks
lot
crazy.
different.
Yeah.
It looks what I do.
No, I said, yeah, it's just gonna look crazy. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
it's gonna look obvious. We'll say that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What I will
Okay.
say
I get you.
is that her story, and we're prepared to fight back.
Yeah.
We got to fight for this story because people need to know why hip hop was made a graveyard, and that
Right.
now the undertakers are reaching out into normal society and normal life.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And I really want to have another look at that that video, that footage. Are we going to get another look at that?
Oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
really want to see that.
Which one? The AI
footage?
video?
Yeah, the glitchy
You
one
posted
with
it.
the blurring.
Spoiler alert.
Mm-hmm.
The More was very impressed with my AI detective skills. And she breaks down the whole story
Oh, good.
in the
Oh yeah.
series.
She runs it all the way down. And the audio. It's a lot. It's a lot.
And the
Wow.
audio.
Awesome. Awesome.
But
Did you pick up some things? Did you pick up some things, Jag, that she missed?
well, no, not that she missed. It's just she had never had anyone pick out all of the things that were wrong and be able to fill in the blanks and explain what was missing from the picture. And when you hear what she has to say,
Oh wow.
people are going to be very, very, very surprised at how keen Jag's eye is.
Yeah.
Not
You'll
me.
see. Spot
Not
on.
me.
Yeah.
I already knew.
I won't be surprised.
No, we're not surprised or impressed, Jag. We
I'm not
already
gonna be
knew.
surprised about that.
What I will say is this, it's because
Yeah,
of that video that she reached out to us. So I must have done something right.
Yeah. Oh, this is so exciting. How long do we have to wait?
Well,
Not long.
your last name is Wright.
Listen to me. The journey begins this week. The
Right.
journey begins this week,
Okay.
and
And anybody in the family that wants, well, we're gonna roll it all out. We gotta have that meeting, but we want y'all to help as well. So
yeah, we need to have a meeting. We won't be doing it on normal channels. We're going to be doing it backdrop. I have all the phone numbers added to the new phone group because what we want to be able to do is for all of you who want to get involved in helping us, launch this story and propel this story out there into the ether sphere. We want to be able to give each one of you specific things that you can focus on with the actual receipts.
yep,
Wow.
because we have the receipts. And shout out to my boy Dewan B. He has a big platform. He's gonna chime in as well. And there's specific nuances within this story that even like you, Auntie Leah, you already were talking about graveyard.
Exactly.
Tory Lane,
Right.
Tory Lane's career is basically a graveyard right now, but it can be resurrected. There's certain elements that you should definitely look into and I'll make sure y'all have everything that y'all need. And then there's a TMZ element, which is all like, man, Jag, man, man, we about to have fun. Like this is about to
TMZ.
yeah.
I can't even, man, too many zebras.
I'm gonna take care of that. I'm taking care of TMZ.
I mean, when it's just wild because these people have been getting away with this stuff right there in plain sight. But one of the most powerful moments for me talking with Demore was when she was just describing how when she's been looking at Tory Lane's case, how so much of it is so similar to what happened to her husband.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
And then there's so much of it that's similar to me.
Yes.
And it's but see, this is, that's how the absolute, miscarriage of justice and just, the abuse of power. Here we are talking about Scott LaRock 40, almost 50 years ago.
Yes.
Here we are, this is what we're talking about.
Yep.
And look at where we are. Nothing's changed. It's just evolved.
Yeah, it's probably easier now.
It's just evolved. But the thing is, Auntie Leah said, very important thing, there was no social media back then. There weren't cameras on every telephone. There were no cell phones.
Yep.
The simple fact that technology got better and this got easier is a problem.
Yep.
Because what that means is that people don't even care about the evidence no more. They literally just believe whatever people say.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason why my crusade has been so heavy, because for a long time, I was one of those people that kept my mouth shut. I bet you if you was to ask D Nice about Scott LaRock right now, he might cry. Because if it wasn't for D Nice learning and being up under tutelage of Scott LaRock, would he even be who he is today?
He wouldn't. And Scott LaRock Jr., Scott Jr. said that D Nice was the only one that took care of Scott LaRock's kids, that KRS-One didn't say a word, didn't help them, didn't even talk to D Nice for like 25 years. I think KRS-One lined Scott LaRock up. Allegedly.
I mean, the truth is he had the most to gain.
He did.
He had the most to gain. Of everybody in that crew, he was the most alone. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he was the most
He has this.
insecure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
He
and
has
desperate
this
people
complex.
do desperate
Mhm.
things.
Yeah.
And that's all it takes. It just takes one Judas. I know who the Judas was in the Roots crew.
Mm-hmm.
Who was it,
The
Jay?
initial one, Amir Questlove Thompson. Amir Questlove
Wow.
Thompson, and then Tariq Black Thought Trotter said, well, I like dressing nice and I like people thinking I'm rich. So sure, let's just do it.
Wow.
Y'all,
Got
Auntie
that,
taking notes. If you trying to know.
you know? When I look at
Mhm.
everything that the Roots did to Philly hip hop, that they allow happen to
Mhm.
Philly hip hop, and when I remember it happening and there was nothing I could do to stop it because I was still in it, I had to be out of it.
Yep.
I had to be out of it. That's why I find it
Yeah.
funny when people say, oh, she wishes she was still in the industry. She
Mm.
wishes. No, I don't.
Mm-mm.
Because if
Yep.
I was, I wouldn't be here, G.
That's right.
They'd
Exactly.
have
That's
been
it.
got, they've been trying to sacrifice me for about 15, 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
This is it.
Wow.
This is it. This is the pinnacle. This is the time. This is the right time, Jag, for you. This is it.
Independent. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You can't fight that thing from inside. It's
Mm-hmm.
too
Good
many
agree.
cooperating, monitoring spirits. You
Monitoring
gotta
spirits. Wow.
You gotta beat it. Yeah, there's always a monitoring spirit around. That person that wishes they could rhyme, you know, as good as you, like Tariq Black Thought try to
Mm.
felt about Malik B.
Wow.
Or someone who really knows and has good business acumen, but you
Mhm.
want to take all of the credit.
Mm-hmm.
So you get them out of the
Exactly.
way. Or the person that could pull all of the girls.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta get
Yep.
him out of the way. Or that person that could wake up on a drop of a dime and write a killer
Mhm.
16 bar, and you had to sit around for weeks, for months, hoping to like it's you always got those monitoring spirits.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
See, that's the beautiful thing about the industry. There's always going to be someone that's jealous of you, and there's always going to
Exactly.
be someone who wishes they were you.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Wow.
Like, I'll give you a line of succession. Nat King Cole never thought he was that great an artist. Matter of fact, he thought he was the hack of his family. Yet, he was a chart topping sensation.
Mm-hmm.
He was so successful that Marvin Gaye wanted to be just like him and couldn't really
Wow.
pull it off, but he tried. You know, he did it with the Hear My Dear album. He tried to do that Nat King Cole thing. Now, this is Marvin Gaye. He wanted to be Nat King Cole. Fast forward 20 more years. D'Angelo wants to be Marvin Gaye. And none of these people wanted to be their self.
Yeah,
Nope.
that's weird.
Look
Very
at
weird.
that. Look at that. Three of the greatest top charting R&B voices of our eras, of our contemporary era. And none of them wanted to be
Mhm.
themselves.
Mhm.
And every last one of them tried to imitate what they thought was better than them. See, that's the beauty. That's how you know that the devil runs the music industry.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not forget, he was the choir director
Mhm.
in heaven. Music is his wheelhouse. He knows how to use it. He knows how to
Ooh, you
manipulate it.
saying something
He
right
knows
now.
how to
You
do
saying
all
something
of
right
that.
now, Jay. Oh yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you something right now. If Yeshua were alive right now, do you want to know what he would have? Either a record company or a multimedia company. Sure would.
Mm-hmm.
and he would find a way to reinfect the world with love to fight against all of the devil's hate. It would happen.
Yes.
It
Reinfect
would
the
happen.
world with love.
Cruelty
I love
free.
that. Sorry, Jay.
Yeah.
Cruelty
But I
free
mean, you
is
think
what
about
he's
it.
using.
Vanity. Vanity is one of the greatest tools used to promote and propel and to keep artists in line.
Who's
Like
vanity?
watching Mary J. Blige on this tour, and people still trying to sell images of her like they think that shit makes sense. It's disgusting. She's a 55-year-old woman in a onesie, for God's sake.
I'm glad she's older
Just
than me.
she just had she got the BBL. She got the breast job at 50 something. At 50 something.
Not the BBL.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, she got her body done before she went on tour. But that's nothing new. She's always done that. If people knew how body dysmorphic Mary J. Blige actually was, they wouldn't think so much of her.
Right. Yep. Okay.
But see, it's that vanity.
Mm-hmm.
She needed that, right? She needs that to look good. And she needs to look as good as she can, because the truth is that she never really sounded that great to begin with. See, this was the beauty of puffy structure.
Mm-hmm.
We have all of the money and all of the things to make shit look like Shinola.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's shit, right?
Yep.
So that means it can't be Shinola without us.
Yep.
But see, if you got an artist like myself,
Mm-hmm.
who has all of that talent and doesn't need any of that stuff to shine, where I can come out on stage in a basic slip dress with just lip gloss on and sing and kill.
Yeah.
Can't
And they
can't
had to
wait
spend
see it.
and they had to spend $80,000 so people could ignore the fact that they can't do shit.
Yep. I get it. Yep.
You understand? It takes
Yeah.
no money for me to be amazing. It takes a lot of money for people to forget their trash.
That's it. It's that's it.
Come get your trash.
Look at that Beyonce show. I've been waiting for somebody on her crew to get drunk again so they could bust upside the head with some of all of them bells and whistles. That don't look like no concert. It looks like the circus.
Or bust her upside the head with her missing banjo.
Well,
Yeah, that part. We still ain't got no banjo. And it really disgusts me, because I'll never forget, before she hired Lay Twins to come and dance for her, I was in the studio and I had written a song, and I was writing the treatment for the video, and I sent it to a friend of mine who was a videographer, and I told him, for this video, I need to hire Lay Twins. I need them. And the next thing you know, I found out 2.5 months later, they had just signed with Beyonce, and they were under exclusive contract and couldn't work with anybody else.
Wow.
I had never heard her even talk about loving street dance. Like nothing. I remember when Lay Twins first hit the street, I used to see them. They used to come to all of the hip hop shows. And when I was in Paris, they were at all of the hip hop, like, yeah. And now they're just Beyonce's puppets on stage.
Are they the dancers? Is that who you're talking
Yeah,
about?
the twins. Yeah, Lay Twins. I remember, listen to me. Two of my friends who are professional dancers who have studios and all of that. I remember when I first found out about these guys. Actually, the first time I saw them was in Germany. I believe it was it Munich or was it Berlin? Yeah. Like, I've been following them since forever, and now they're Rock Nation slaves.
Wow. So, I think I've seen these guys. Were they on World
They're
of
very
Dance?
tall. Yes, they're very tall.
Okay.
They're very French. They're beautiful almond complected Frenchmen. And I mean, they literally have the ability to mirror each other. But I could never work with them again. And not because they signed to the baby, but because I know that they didn't have to do the devil stuff. I don't want that around me.
Yeah. Okay.
You're not gonna bring the Baphomet all of
Ooh, I'm putting together a video about that. Go ahead.
But the thing is after they did, because they was in one of, was it the Transformer movie or something like that? One of those movies they was in there. That was their big payoff. They got to be in that movie. And guess what? They was in that movie and still don't nobody really know who the fuck they are unless they on stage with that weird bitch. See,
Yeah.
but that's the thing. Real talent has been held hostage.
Yeah, for sure.
And guess what? If you want to work, you got to work with the wackies. You got to work with the no talents. You got to work with them.
Exactly.
You got to do that because they got all of the money. Oh, you don't want to conform. You don't want to be naked. You don't want to be a whore. Well, then all you're good enough to do is write. You can write for the people who are willing to do it. And this was Yeah. Puff's plan. Get Britney rid of Spears talent. said she couldn't do one dance. She didn't want to do one dance move, and then before you know it, that's when she was on the conservatorship.
What?
Yeah, she just because she didn't want to do one dance move.
Wow.
That's crazy. It's utter control. But see, they don't want you feeling like you have options. And when you're true talent, you got options.
Right.
These people, the Beyoncé's, she ain't got no options. She needs all them bells and whistles. She needs all the liars. She needs all the bots. She needs. We all need it. Did anybody see any of the J-Lo performance for the American Music Awards? Apparently the one where she auditioned or practiced so hard that she ended up having to get a nose job.
What?
How
What?
convenient. How convenient.
A nose job.
But what is up with all of these women
Oh
in
my.
these onesies, these sparkly onesies and their skivvies? And then she sitting there, and she's trying to be futuristic and
No.
and I'm sitting up there, you orthoretic sex kitten.
Oh my
That's
God.
that's a biofreeze hoe.
Biofreeze.
Wow. Lord.
And then she gotta kiss the woman and she gotta kiss the man while she's pretending to be half an android. And I'm like, if you wanted half an android, why didn't you just hire Blue Ivy? I don't understand.
Yeah. And you know the funny thing is I actually follow the woman that she kissed on Instagram, and I had no idea, and I saw she's like, have a look at this. This is my first kiss, and I'm like, is that J-Lo? What's this? So, yeah, so I obviously I follow a lot of dancers. That's how I knew who like Twins were, and Fiction. I'm a big fan of his, and I like dancers, so that was bizarre.
Wow.
It wasn't that it was bizarre. It was unnecessary.
Oh, and the age
There was
difference.
there was
big
no
thing.
there was no artistic value at all. It was all salacious.
And it looked very uncomfortable and fake and just pointless from
Yeah. There was
what I
more
saw of it.
feeling with Madonna tonguing down Britney
Oh, there was way more feeling.
and Christina.
Yeah. It actually looked like somebody put J-Lo up to it. She really didn't look into it at all.
I think she was just trying to keep up with breathing in the steps. When you get up there in age, doing those kind of complicated routines on that stage, she could have, threw a hip out.
In a onesie, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What's up with all of these women in onesies?
I don't like it.
Really? What's up with it?
There's a cutoff. There's a cutoff age. There's definitely a cutoff age. Come on.
I don't get it.
Get real. It's mutton dressed up as lamb. Stop it.
Mutton is not bad. We're talking Nutrirat served as mutton. We're talking mutton surprise.
Oh no.
Is this mutton surprise? Seriously, like
Oh,
I call it smutton. Lettuce, smutton, and tomato.
it's smutty mutton. Yeah, smutton. Yep.
Smutty mutton dick.
Smutty mutton. Yeah.
Yeah, they never thought that hip hop would take it this far.
They're putting the hips out in hip hop.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing, but I'm gonna tell you something right now. All of them gonna be in wheelchairs. They keep on playing.
This is what I mean. Their hips are going out in the hip hop. It's like hip hop, but not hip hop.
Geriatric sex kittens.
Oh, no. Jack, you can't say those two words together.
It gives you like a fright when you say, yeah, geriatric sex kittens.
No,
Yeah.
you've got to check. No, you can't put those two words together. That's gross.
You know, like Eddie Murphy's, the one he played the grandma, stripper man. Oh, stripper man. You know, you guys know me. Man. We gotta have a little bit of levity. This stuff could be depressing.
We should. Oh yeah, we've got to have a lot of levity. Absolutely. We've got to have a lot of levity. And one day during one of your live streams, Jag,
yeah,
when you dropped the as soon as you dropped, some words about where's the damn banjo. I don't know if you know, you might know, but during that live stream of yours, I very quickly wrote the quickest song I've ever written and made it and put it out there.
Fabulous.
And I've got it lined up. I've got it lined up for you, Auntie Leah, in the backdrop there.
Okay.
If you want to hear it. I did this. This was my fast. Yep, that was my fastest song ever, Jag, and I did it during one of your live streams and uploaded it to YouTube. I just did it like crazy fast.
But that's inspiration, and I like that because that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be inspiring each other, not setting each other up.
Well,
absolutely.
Yep, you inspired me, and I even did a little video for it.
It's up there.
Can we give it a play?
Go ahead.
All right, I'll hit play. Here we go.
Where's the banjo? You say you can play, but where is the damn banjo? We say na na on the ding 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 da da ding 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 ding. Where's the banjo?
Hey,
I want to know.
We say na na on the ding 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 da da ding 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 ding. You can't run fast with a banjo up your butt. Ding 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 da da ding 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 ding. You say you can play, where is the damn banjo? We say na na on the ding 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 da da ding 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 ding.
Knocked on it.
Yeah, nah, you can't play.
I love it.
Ding 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 da da ding.
Gotta turn this into a track.
In your dreams, where is the damn banjo?
Where the banjo?
Only in Jaguar country.
Jag country. Bad work, baby. Where's the banjo?
Please, someone tell me, because it hasn't been on the tour at all. Everything has made an appearance on her stage except for the banjo.
I think you got
Oh my God.
Nick. You got a troll in your house.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I do.
I think it's you. I think it's you because I
Alright,
can't
let
see it over
me
here.
remove that. Let me get over
I
there.
don't see you.
Where's?
It's
Oh,
the
I
net.
do.
You see it?
Yeah, I got him. Yeah, I got him.
Who is it? And don't come over here because we don't do trolls either.
We don't want to promote the page unless you want to
No,
They
I
always
just wanna
go
make
where
sure-
they think
if
ain't
you see
nobody
him-
watching.
report it.
If you see him, Jay, just wipe him, okay?
Yeah, I can't do it from over here. It's Nick's page.
I said
Alright,
if
we
he
got
comes
him.
over here.
Oh,
Thank
you already
you.
know.
See, every time we have a good time, next thing you know, here they come.
Exactly. Sick of them.
The party poopers. The party poopers.
Well, I
They're
mean,
boring. They're
you
boring.
have to remember. You have to remember. They're hungry, hungry hippos.
Mm-hmm.
They got a lot of eating out there for them these days.
They're
They got to gobble each
starving.
other up.
They're starving.
Hey,
Just weird.
listen to me. Long as they ain't worried about nipping at me, we fine. Let them
Oh,
let them eat each other alive.
I think they've got somebody new to nip at, and it's not none of us.
Well, you know, the sad thing about it is that in this time when there's so many interesting things happening in entertainment, politics, all of that stuff, you would think that they would try to find a way to actually create something decent for themselves. Because the truth is, all of this troll content, it has a shelf life. It goes nowhere.
Yeah, it gets boring.
You
They're
don't want to
boring.
be a content creator. You just want to keep things going for engagement. And I think that's the saddest part about it. Because
Very sad.
while we're sitting over here talking about the effects that all of this has had on our community, on our psyches, just as a whole, you know, when you look at all of the disinformation around the Diddy trial right now, it's embarrassing.
Yeah,
it's embarrassing. And
very.
you know, a lot of people are waiting for me to get in and talk about what happened in the courtroom and give my spin on this or see if I'm going to give them another name to run with. You know, it's so funny. People always want me to do their job for them. But
yes,
everything that's being said in that courtroom is everything I've been saying.
Yeah.
There is nothing that they are saying in the testimony that you are hearing from the people who are there that's anything different than what I've said.
Absolutely, 100%.
Nobody wants to talk about that, so I guess they want me to talk about what I've been already talking about. No, that's why we're moving on.
Yeah,
Because if we want hip hop to be what it was meant to be and not a graveyard, we got to hit the important conversations. So, you know, the Damore Hadley story is a very important story, in my opinion. Very important.
That's the one that you're dropping on, right?
Very important.
Yeah.
Because it shows exactly how far this business has degenerated. This industry has degenerated to the point where it's just become a people destroying machine.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you know, that's all I got to say about that. Anybody else got something to say?
No, but we can just like finish up this video real quick. It's only a few minutes left.
Okay.
And, all right, hold on, guys. Bear with us.
Wow. That's crazy. Like I said, G was dead. He knew about all the business and everything. So make sure y'all check out that interview G did. And let me know what y'all think. He did one on Vlad TV too. He straight up said it. Scott Larson did. And another thing I want to point out is this. When they took Scott to the hospital and KRS-One arrived, he said, now KRS-One said he didn't want to go see him because he didn't want to remember Scott like that. So, which is understandable. A lot of people don't they don't go to funerals. They don't want to see nobody in that kind of shape. They want to remember them smiling and everything, which is understandable. And now, look, MC Search was there. And MC Search from Third Base, he was there. He said, he asked KRS-One, like, why did you have a smile on your face when Scott was dying that
And listen to this weird response.
This is what KRS-One told MC Search, right? He said, Scott is in a better place now. And now we're going to win. Because half the crew is in the spirit realm and the other half of the group is on Earth. We can't lose now.
Wow.
But you know, After
That's
Scott's
crazy.
death, though, man, overall, it was a shock to the entire hip hop community because he died 5 months after releasing the Criminal Minded album. And another incident that had happened after Scott LaRock's murder was when a young fan was killed over a gold chain at the Dope Jam tour with Boogie Down Productions and Public Enemy, because at the time their security quit on tour.
That sounds eerily similar. It wasn't that when Diddy threw that party or that celebrity basketball game at the college. It wasn't that his security wasn't there. He fired some of the security. So, and a lot of people died because of that negligence as well. So, same kind of story, kind of similar. People
and
dying.
They had no security there, and that young kid got stabbed in the heart. That incident and Scott's death made KRS-One start the Stop the Violence movement and put out the song Self-Destruction, which was produced by D-Nice and Hank Shockley. All the proceeds from that song went to the National Urban League. You know, Self-Destruction, that song Stop the Violence, actually went #1 on Billboard's Hot Rap Singles. And I loved it, man. I love that song, man. Just seeing all the rappers come together, BDP, MC Light, Kumo D, Dougie Fresh, Heavy D, Public Enemy, all of them. I wonder why rappers don't do that these days, man. They should get together and do another song like Self-Destruction. And just like the West Coast did one too, all in the same gang. NWA, Hammer, Tone Loc, they all got together to stop the violence, man. But I don't know if they're gonna do that these days though. But you know, another thing, man, D-Nice, for years, D-Nice carried that guilt that it was all his fault that Scott LaRock got killed. And he felt KRS-One blamed him for his death. And for over 25 years, KRS-One didn't speak to D-Nice until years recently, and they're good now though, but you know, D-Nice always felt that it was his fault, man, that all that happened. Now, Scott LaRock Jr., Scott LaRock's son, he was 9 months old when his father was murdered, and he had some choice words about KRS-One.
Yep.
And basically he said KRS-One has done nothing for him ever. Wow. That's crazy, man. That's hard to believe. He said his father Scott would have never did that if the situation was reversed. He would have definitely took care of KRS-One's family because Scott's share should go to his son.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Shaking my head, man. I can't believe that, man. KRS-One is worth millions. And Scott LaRock Jr., you know, he said he lived in the projects his whole life, had a very rough childhood, which led to him going to prison and everything.
Wow.
But I know now he turned out to be a positive guy doing his thing, though. But if KRS-One did that, shaking my head, man, that's terrible, man. Scott LaRock Jr. said D-Nice was the only one to stay in contact with him at all those years. Wow. You know, you can check his interview out on Doggy Diamonds TV. Shouts out to Doggy Diamonds. In May 2017, Scott LaRock was celebrated by having a Bronx Boulevard name in his honor on the intersection of Jerome Avenue and Kingsbridge Boulevard. I'm glad he did that though. And it's crazy because it's been over 30 plus years since he's passed away. So y'all let me know, man. Y'all let me know, was this death an accident?
Nope.
Was it accidental? Because Scott squashed the beef between D-Nice and that guy.
Straight lineup.
It was his bodyguard who restarted the beef, and they really was shooting at him. But like said G from the Ultramagnetic said, it was a hit by that record label. They were about to leave, and they had a snipe on the roof. Wow. So, and I guess his death remains unsolved because the guys got off. Nobody would testify, and the guys just disappeared. Nobody ever seen the guys no more or nothing.
Wow.
So I don't know, man.
I do.
I just know it's sad, man, and tragic. I hope that Scott LaRock's Jr.'s son could put out that Scott LaRock story.
Yes.
Turn into a movie, because This is the first tragedy in hip hop. This has to be on a big screen right here.
Needs to be set in the West.
Scott LaRock was only 25 years old.
Yeah.
Wow, man. So young in his prime. He would have been a powerhouse in hip hop. 25 years old.
What?
Rest in peace, man. Rest in peace. DJ Scott LaRock.
Wow, guys.
Oh, he was so young.
Wow.
Yeah.
All of them were. All of them were so young, guys. It's just
Biggie
crazy.
died almost 25. Tupac died 25.
Wow, yeah.
You know, there's so many.
Yeah.
So many.
I got,
And they get them out of the way, and then they replace
I
them
gotta
with
figure
something
out who
else, and they
died
pray that no
next.
one remembers.
But they keep making money off them. Like
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
it doesn't matter that they're. I mean, it doesn't matter to the
Residual.
industry that they're not here because they keep generating money. It's unbelievable.
That's what these companies do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the next rapper or huge rapper that passed, I think it was Tupac. I don't know if it was someone in between. Do you know, Jag?
Oh no. I'm trying to think. Scott LaRock.
Easy, maybe.
Easy died before Pop? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess our next video will be Easy E. Okay. So our next
That's
video
just like
is going to be on Easy E, guys. We will continue this segment.
that's a great conversation for Set in the West because that's
Listen.
West Coast. That's West Coast.
Yeah. Yeah. That we're gonna need you on that day. I'm gonna try to find all the info I can and put a video together.
No problem.
And we need to
There's a
discuss
lot of conflicting history.
because it is because I don't see how someone can just contract AIDS and die within weeks. It's weird.
Maybe kind of like the same way people get that pneumonia.
Yeah, well, remember he got into that fight in the studio allegedly with Suge, and then supposedly he got stabbed up then with a needle, and then you know y'all already know how that. So and you're hearing new things coming out about you know these Chinese nationals bringing over these fungus that's connected to the pneumonia allegedly. It could have been one of them type of jobs. You never know, but yeah, that's why I said I may even see if I can get the big homie Lonzo to come and speak on that.
Yes, please do.
Well, I mean, there's so
that is
many.
what I'm going to be doing. Please speak, Jack.
Oh no, I was just saying there is still so much conflicting information regarding the death of Eazy-E, and you know his son, Little Eric. Something special about him. I like him. I like him a lot. It's their legacy, like their children, they deserve for us to get to the bottom of this. But then, because so many of these, you know, young hip hop kids, these young legacy kids, they've lost their parents and don't even really know why.
Yeah.
And they have to listen to everyone in the world talk about how great their parent was, and nobody can explain why they're gone. And that just it has to be confusing in some way.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. I agree 100%. Anybody else have any final words?
Final words? Are we leaving?
Well, we will be leaving soon. You know, some of us, like me, have to go to work in the morning.
and it's midday over here on Monday already, Auntie Leah.
I know.
Oh wow,
so weird.
It's
so
10
weird.
p.m. here where I'm
Mhm.
at. So.
Yep.
No, but I mean, I want to know what you guys think, though. I mean, I already made my conclusion on allegedly who I think lined up Scott Rock. And I do believe that it was KRS-One and that record label collaborated together to
Like I
line up
said,
Scott LaRock.
I was told that, Kenny Parker made the choice. And
Right.
when you think about it, when you listen to the conditions that he was living in and how great, his superiority complex in the midst of all of it. It's wild when you see people say, you know what I want is more important than what everyone else needs.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is
right,
regardless of what KRS-One has done and has accomplished, he probably would have been so much more immortalized if Scott had lived, because his career, it fell short.
Absolutely.
Like he went from being one of
Yes,
the
it did.
most well, not even just the greatest lyricist, but just the greatest force. It used to be once upon a time,
Right.
you didn't want KRS-One to dish you on record, because if he did, that was it for you.
Exactly.
And one day he went from that to just gone.
Silent.
Well, I mean, these kids, if you ask these kids in hip hop now who Kenny Parker is or who KRS-One is, they couldn't tell you. And a lot of artists who took shortcuts, they burned bright, but when they disappeared, they disappeared. And it's funny because what they wanted was to be immortal, and they won't be again until they're dead.
Now, you just gave me the biggest brainwave I've had so far this year, Jack.
What?
So, I'm a genealogist, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can attach this live stream that you've done, Auntie Leah, with you talking on it, Jag, and Odell and all of us, to Scott's to his profile on Ancestry permanently.
Wow.
Interesting.
This is what I do. Sorry, and I haven't really touched on it before, but yes, I have got another channel which I need to drop in somebody's link here, and these are the things
there.
My genealogy. I need a few more. I need a few more subs so I can go live on that other channel and do all of this. I only need, I don't know, 20.
Everybody,
24
please
more
subscribe to Nick's Genealogy. Please subscribe to Nick's Genealogy channel. There's just dropped the link.
Yep, and I'll drop it in yours as well.
There's something about Mary. Drop the link.
Yep.
Oh, I thought it was in mine. It's in yours. Okay.
But this is really important. Okay. This is something that I'm really, really, really passionate about, Jag, and it's really important for future generations of anyone to set the record straight where you can, in the best way and the most permanent way possible.
Yeah.
Where it can't be argued against. It's I'm very, very passionate about it. And I kind of forgot for a minute that I'm a genealogist. Weirdly.
Long live Scott LaRock.
Yeah, I'm very focused on what we're talking about. I'm so focused on it that I. Yeah. So I may need some other information.
You got any final? Go ahead, Nick.
So I was just going to say, I may need some other information now that he is no longer with us. I may need, you know, the correct information so I can tie it to his name, his government name.
Yeah.
And all that.
I don't know why.
Okay. It's out there. There's a lot of information about Scott LaRock out there, so you'll be able to find it. Now, it's not like Chris Lighty or Shakira Stewart where they washed the whole internet. There is some stuff out there still about Scott LaRock.
Yeah.
Well, because people don't care about that story anymore because it happened so long ago.
Yeah.
But it goes to show you at how, as the years went by, they knew they needed to scrub it. They knew they needed to scrub it so wouldn't nobody be able to see it.
Mm-hmm.
See, Scott died back at a time, like we said, it was before social media, before all of those, long before.
Yes.
So they haven't really scrubbed it because they know nobody's looking for it. But if you look at Shakir, if you look at Chris, if you'll see that they got more careful as the years went by.
They did, because they sure took it down. You can't find anything on those two right there.
It's wild.
Also nefarious, very wild, Jack. It's diabolical. This whole industry.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's amazing to be able to say that I'm one of the people that have been able to survive it.
It's incredible.
Yeah. And that's why they attack you so much. They attack you so much because you did survive it.
Yeah.
Point blank, period.
First I was afraid. I was petrified. Just thinking I could never live without hip hop by my side. Ooh, honey. Yeah.
And Jag, I just wanted to let you know I love your new hair. Are you going to keep it this way for a while, or what's?
Well, I'm just giving it a rest, but the braids will be back sooner than later. But for these interviews, I wanted to just strip it down and keep it simple.
And I think it works really well. And I think you pulled it off perfectly because it just you're sitting well in your 48. I'm just letting you know.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
that's okay.
I do.
And I think your hair really suits you. Is what I'm trying to say. It like perfect.
Well, it's just me.
Yeah, of course.
It's just me.
Yeah. Natural.
Yep.
Natural.
And I love that. I love that for me. I love that I can do this or do that because at the end of the day, it's me. I'm not relying on something to make me look like something.
No.
Just being myself.
Yep.
Whatever that may be. But my mom, when she didn't process her hair, this is how she would wear her hair.
I had a feeling. I had a feeling. I actually felt like I could see your mum a little bit in your interview, in you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the truth is I was a great combination of both my parents. I got my father's brains, wit, strength, drive, and I got my mother's looks.
Yep. Yep.
Just beautiful.
Just beautiful. Yep. You said it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What about you, Jay? Jay, you got anything? Oh, you're welcome. You got any closing arguments or closing? I don't think they're arguments, but
no, I gotta catch up on the replay. I missed a lot.
Okay.
So you're learning about Scott LaRock.
Right. Like I know who he is, but I don't know who he is. Like his life.
Weird, right?
And for such a young
you were
guy,
not born, probably.
No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't. Probably
I
not.
wasn't born yet.
And I think I was 17 when he passed away. So that's me showing my age.
And I was 13.
Yeah, well, if you were 13,
and
I was
Dad
17.
was only 11.
Yeah. So I was just about to finish high school when it happened. But Jay, when you learn about him, it will inspire you, because he was He was incredibly smart, and I mean, he knew how to play. He was a really good basketball player and was going to do big things with it. And I think he applied his knowledge of the play on the basketball field to getting a business degree. He was just a really smart mover and a shaker,
Right.
And he was a counselor. He was doing
Yeah.
amazing things. You'll love it. You'll love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what's up.
I agree. What about you, Set in the West? You got anything? Any closing words for us?
No, just keep up the good work. That's it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Odell.
Well,
Auntie Leah is doing a great job. She's doing a great job.
For sure.
I'm doing my best, guys, and I love you guys being here with me. It makes it better, that we can all conversate and put our thoughts in. Jag has the wisdom of the industry, right? Set has the wisdom of the rap game, right? You, me, you, Nick, Jay, and me, we're just
wisdom.
putting ourselves out there with the wisdom that we learned. So, right. We co-messengers in this thing, and I love being a co-messenger. I don't need to be leave me in the middle.
Bob Marley said, each
so
one
our
teach
next
one.
artist.
Yes. Salute to Bob.
Absolutely.
And every now and then, yes, remind me that I'm a genealogist, so that I can do what I should be doing and putting this information where it needs to go.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Nick. All right, guys. So with that being said, we're going to wrap up this segment of Hip Hop is a Graveyard. This was the Scott LaRock edition. I got my suspect and I'm set on it. You know what I mean? You may have a different, view of things. It's all good. Freedom of speech or whatever. Our next artist will be Eazy-E. The tragic demise of Eazy-E. There was a lot that went into it that led up to it. He was beefing, with people, right?
Okay.
With his own ex-group members, beefing with Suge, just beefing with a lot of people. There's a lot of things that quirky that went on with him as well, as far as his record labels and stuff like that. So he's going to be a very interesting story as well.
Sloan Bella had said it was a white man, an executive that that got him set up. She said it was
I wouldn't be
short white
surprised.
man. Yeah, we got to pull up. We got to pull up that clip if I can find it. But yeah,
we'll get to Sloan Bella in the video, okay? Mizzac, listen.
We're gonna have to find it.
Yep, and she does have a reading on Eazy-E. Yep.
She has it on it.
We will be
I
incorporating.
just remember her talking about him in one of her lives.
She has a whole video where I don't know what you call it, where they come to her, the dead people come to her, and she's able to channel them.
Yeah.
And they tell their story. Yep. So yeah, she has it on Tupac, Eazy-E. She has it on Kim Porter. She's done it on Biggie. She's done it on a lot of celebrities. Yep. And they all basically died nefariously. So
yeah,
we will be getting
Is there any other way to die in the music industry?
No, apparently not. No,
apparently not, Jay.
I'm glad you're laughing about it.
She got the heavy D one too. You said heavy.
Yeah.
She also has heavy D. Yep.
Yeah.
I seen that one.
He's coming up. We're gonna go in order. We're gonna try to go in order. So the next is Eazy. And I think after Eazy is Tupac, but I'm gonna try to search to see if there's anybody in between that we may not even know.
I'll check my obituaries and see if you. Yeah, I'll check the obituaries.
Okay. Yeah.
And I just wanted to give all the, because we're streaming to Jay's page and to my page from Auntie Leah's channel.
Fabulous.
I just wanted to give everyone a shout out. Thanks for joining all of us, and please, hit all the links up that have been dropped in all the chats. Come over to Auntie Leah's and hit the like as well. Please go over to Jay's, hit the like
and subscribe.
Yeah.
Subscribe to the channels, guys.
Yeah. And
I'm going to be going live on our
Jag.
community channel. I'm going to be
Okay.
going live on our community
Okay.
channel so that we can discuss how we're going to be rolling out the Demore
Really.
Hadley story. Because this is a community effort, we need to make sure that everyone gets the word.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
All
Okay,
right.
so Jag, will this be members only?
I'm not letting open the
drop the membership link as well. If it's
yes, I'm not. Listen to me. We still are a membership only platform. Every now and then we have open house. Every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
But
I be in there fighting for my life, just winning.
oh my God, it's so insane. It's insane, Auntie Leah, the way they come. Oh my God. And it's like, oh, it's open.
You bobbing and weaving, bobbing and weaving. Yeah, I
What
know.
was that movie, Animal House?
Yeah.
Do you remember the movie Animal House? That's exactly what it turns into anytime we let the floodgates open.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Animal House.
Yes. So guys, I dropped the membership link to Jack's channel if you want to participate in the chat, but you can still see it. You just, without being a member, you can still listen, but you won't be able to participate in the chat. But if you want to, I dropped the link. So we're going to head over to Jack's page.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to all head over to Jack's page, and we're going to end the night up with her wisdom. She's going to catch us up on some things. So I want you guys to know that I really love you. I appreciate you. We all do. Thank you again for kicking it with Auntie Leah. Thank you for kicking it with Nick, Setting the West, the Jaguar, Wright, and Jay Mizzac.
Yeah.
Let's go on over to Jag, guys. Love you.
Yes. Love you
too.
Bye.
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 Have fun story.
Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for coming. Please like, share, and subscribe. Come back again.